Morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to our second training day for Royal Family Kids Camp 2023. We hope you enjoyed your breakfast, and it's so good to see everybody. We're getting really close to camp, and we have David Galletti, who's going to pray us in for today.
Good morning, everybody. So when Cynthia asked me to, if I would be good to conduct the opening prayer, I said sure, and then I realized that I said sure. Because I'm not allowed to be sarcastic up here, so I just want you to know that. So, as I was praying to put this prayer together, I opened up my iPhone to notes so I could start typing. And the very first thing that came upon me was a message that I had sent myself many, many years ago. It says that I'm often reminded of the quote from Sun Tzu's Art of War. If you've ever read the book, it's an amazing book on leadership. But it says, in the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. So bow your heads in prayer, please. Dear Lord, we pray today for an abundance of opportunities in the coming weeks and during camp to show your children love, and that adults can be trusted and are safe. May we find every opportunity to share your words as we work our way through the chaos that is their lives and camp itself. May we, as volunteers and people of faith, take the opportunities you have called us to do, that we have the knowledge, strength, courage, and passion to carry out your will. In Jesus' name we pray, the people of Jesus all said, amen.
So Gwen is going to be talking to us about mission mindset, and as she's preparing, I noticed that a couple of people are not seated where we placed you, and since we want you to get to know the people in your cabin, I think after Gwen's little session, we have a break. I'm going to move a few of you, okay? Because if you're in a cabin with somebody, I really want you to be sitting next to them, okay? So just thought I'd let you know that we have change coming soon, okay? I don't think it's too many people, but we will fix that. So Gwen's still getting ready for her presentation. Anybody have a quick question to ask? When's lunch? Leah? Did you say cell service? At camp? We have heard that there is cell service. However, if you are in a cabin with children, you will not have your phone with you anytime the children are anywhere around, and so that means most of the time. So you will not have your phone anywhere around the kids at any time. If you are a staffer and not in a kid cabin, then in your cabin you may have your cell phones. But when we're out and about with all the kids, we're not going to have our phones. If you're wondering, like, why are they being so mean? It's because if a kid gets your phone and contacts somebody, and it's somebody who could be potentially dangerous, you know, to their situation, we just don't want that to happen. So that's why we have to be mean about phones. Okay, here's Gwen.
And we're not being mean, we're being wise. We don't be mean at Royal Family Kids Camp. We're very kind and nice, we're being wise. So, mission mindset. So, Royal Family, or it's not Royal Family, for the children requires certain topics that we cover every year for training. A certain amount of hours for every volunteer, yada, yada, yada. And so some of these you're thinking, why do I need that? Some of the stuff I know you've all went home, you new volunteers went home and read your manuals cover to cover, probably since you've had 3 weeks, so I'm sure and you look at it and you go, why do I need to have this? But there's a reason for all it. Nothing is random. Everything is planned. for success at the camp. So, mission mindset is one of the things that we need to cover. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Let's see if I can do this. So the whole thing about camp, and you've heard us say this many times, and you will hear us say it many more times, camp is about the campers. Camp isn't about like when you go to camp and you make new friends and you hang out together, or you go to camp and you're single and you go, oh, that guy's single and I don't want to spend time. That's not why we're at camp this week. You're going to make friends, you're going to develop new relationships that you've never had, but the reason we're at camp is for the children. It's all about the kids while we're at camp. So that, we really need to have our mindset that way. Okay, sorry, my phone keeps. So what makes our camp different from other camps? One is we started the training one, and we'll get some more today. Our training is trauma informed. And what that means is all of our training is, while it is great for the normal population in our everyday life, this is specific to kids who have experienced trauma in their lives. It's very different. For us to work with, like at VBS, that's not a jump in that direction, but to have someone at VBS come to work with these kids who have experienced trauma, it's a little more challenging because it's just a different thing. They're both real, but so our training is specifically trauma informed. We have a camp family model, and that is that we have grandma and grandpa, and we model relationships that are healthy at camp. Like everybody's gonna know that Daryl and I are married, everybody's gonna know that James and Patty are married, et cetera, if you're married. But we make a big deal about that, so they can see, oh, this is what it looks like. It's, you know, they don't always yelling at each other, kind of thing. So it's all different things. So that is something that's unique to our camp. The 2-to-1 child rule is has been unique to us for a long time. Although in the climate that we live in, like even our children's ministry, there's always 2 adults. So we just need to. We found out that unfortunately is necessary. So that's something else about our camp. And then specifically is that our camp is Bible-based. The story this year is called Journeys with Joseph. It's going to be about Joseph, and you know his story about the coat of many colors, and he ended up saving Israel when he became the leader in Egypt. And then all of our program activities they're things that go along with that theme, but also to provide interaction and lessons about the Bible, about character, about different things. So we're not just there, we're partly there about just the kids having a good time, but there's so many times that we can say, oh, what did you think about? If they say, they just threw a fit, well, what did you think about that? How would you handle that? We interact with them and help them to process things and help them to see that there are different ways, healthier ways of processing things. So a lot of camps aren't like that. So that's what makes our camp unique. We all work hard. We've been praying for camp. We talk a lot about, that we're going to be a light to them, to tell them about Jesus. Some of that will be with words, but much of it will just be with our actions. It'll be with our countenance, our face. It'll be with the words we say. It'll be with some of our actions. We need to be a model of appropriate behavior for that. So that way they can see what it looks like, not only to be a healthy person, but what someone who has a relationship with God, how do they behave? And hopefully they'll want to emulate that. So that's part of the thing. But biggest of all is that we are demonstrating to them that we love them no matter what happens. We love them. And we tell them that over and over, and we remind them many times a day that God loves them and that He will never leave them or forsake them. So what does camp look like? What does it look like? So prayer at camp. When you're praying, it's you ask them if you can pray. You're praying in your cabin. You're praying whatever, the meals. It's praying in a way that is uplifting, not, Lord, would you please make Daryl trip so that he gets paid back for what he did to me, you know. But it's modeling our prayer. Lord, we praise you for just giving us all this. We just ask that you be with us and that you be glorified. So the way that we do that in a non-judgmental way. Another thing I'm just going to add in here is last year or the year before, there was a camper who, they got in a fight. Two boys got, some things were said, I'm probably telling the story all wrong, but some things were said, and later, the camper who had done that realized, someone pointed out to him that he had been unkind, and so he went and asked him to forgive him. And the counselor said to him, well, what do you think we should do about that? And he said, well, I really shouldn't have done that, so he ended up going. So things like that are just opportunities where you can teach them forgiveness, so you can teach them acceptance, you can teach them to be non-judgmental and forgiving. Modeling the daily disciplines that we all experience in our spiritual lives every day. So that might be reading your Bible in the morning. I'm not saying, hey, you guys, look at me, I'm reading my Bible. But you might just say, hey, I like to read my Bible every morning. Do you want to read a verse with me? Just kind of working those kinds of things in your prayer life, worship, all of those things that can be done on a daily basis throughout the day. We demonstrate and we show them that those are things that can happen all the time. And again, communicating all the time that all people are valuable and worthy to God, worth a lot, infinitely valuable. Returning counselors already know this, but I'm just going to repeat it for you and for new volunteers. We never say, you knucklehead, or a friend of mine, his dad used to say, what kind of idiot are you anyway? We never say stupid, bad, because none of those things are true. We might say, do you think you just made the best decision? Or is there a different way that you could have done that? Or something like that. But we want to not be in any way that would be demeaning or make them feel less than. They already feel less than. We want to turn that upside down for them and help them to know that they are valuable. They are important. They're not less than. We want to teach others, I talked about this, to seek and recognize God in the everyday activities of life. Somebody like to see God in nature. And, those are, when we're walking around camp and you're seeing these beautiful plants, wow, where do you think those came from? Who do you think created those? Just common questions, just everyday experiences, typical conversations that you might have. Use those as opportunities. We call them teachable moments, so use them for those. And help them to embrace virtue, that is making the right choices. One of the things that we do at camp is each camper will get a chain and it has medals on it, or will eventually have medals on it. And every counselor will get a baggie that has the chain and 7 or 8 medals, I don't know how many we have. And one of them says generous, one of them says kind, one of them says patient, one of them says whatever, helpful. I don't know what they all are, but you counselors, each day you're going to look for opportunities. You want to give your campers all of those medals by the end of the week. Spread them out, but you want to give them to all of them, the medals, by the end of the week. And it's amazing because on Monday night, some of us will be at dinner and we'll say, what's that on your chain? I got a medal because I'm helpful. Whoa, no kidding. It just means so much to them. And that's a great way for us to encourage them. Some of the campers will have to look a little harder to find those qualities, but just have in your mind, if you're a counselor, that you're going to find this character today so that you can notice it when it happens. And then communicate that God desires us to seek His will when life becomes overwhelming. That's so many opportunities at camp to do that. When the kids are feeling overwhelmed, we can talk to them, but we can also say, when I feel like that, I pray. Would you like to pray right now? And they can say yes or no. But we give them opportunities. Kathleen will talk later about, okay, if I say Cynthia and Kathleen, I get them mixed up all the time. Not them, just their names. So, but Kathleen's going to talk about our wellness tents. And those are places where the kids can go to decompress, to regulate themselves. And so by giving them that opportunity, when they're feeling anxious or something, they can calm down and go to this. So we're teaching them ways to do that. But ultimately, we teach them that God will be the one that wants to walk us through those things. Okay, so the most lasting impact on campers does not come from activities or the physical camp, but in volunteers reflecting God's love. The kids aren't, I mean, there's a lot of things they'll remember, but they're mostly going to remember how we make them feel. And so that needs to be our mindset. There's a saying, it's the process, not the project. When you're working on activities, crafts, or wood, for me, I'm like, okay, no, we have to finish this. No, this is crooked. No, it's about the process. Hey, why do you want to do that? Letting them do it. So it's about the process, not the project. And that's how it is with the kids all week. Is we're more focused on the process of them learning and feeling God's love and experiencing that than we are on how they do something or if they get it done. If they do it themselves, it's going to look perfect. And this happens to be my life verse, but Matthew 5:16 says, "In the same way, let your light shine, so that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven." The way that you behave, the way that you treat the campers, and the way you treat the other adults at camp, because you never know when little eyes are watching, they're going to remember that, and it's going to reflect Jesus or you. So we want to try, that's part of the mindset that we want to have. We want to be reflecting Jesus the whole week. Oops. So we are a group of committed Christians who take our faith seriously, and we want to, we're giving it the week. Some of you are taking a vacation, some of you, there's all kinds of things that we could be doing, but we're choosing to give this week for the kids to impact their lives. So we are all on the same team, we're all here to do that. What will you do with your 1 week with the children? So as volunteers, there's all kinds of opportunities that we have. Again, we talked about teachable moments. When you wake up in the morning, when you're getting ready in your cabin, when you're giving the kids medicine, when you're singing on the drama team, when you're standing in line for dinner, when you're at the craft or activities tables, all of those are opportunities to share God's love with them. It's not like you go, okay, do you know the 3 spiritual laws? Do you know that we've all sinned? And then no, we reflect Jesus in the way we treat them. Sure, they're going to be asking questions about Jesus. They're going to be asking questions about Joseph. They're going to be asking all kinds of questions, and we answer those. But our goal is to help the kids understand that God has loves them and has a purpose for their life. Because many of them think that they are worthless and that they are unimportant. They hear, I love the song, it's an older song, "I Will Change Your Name." And the words go, "I will change your name. You will no longer be called wounded, outcast, lonely, or afraid. I will change your name." And I can't remember the rest of it, but we're going to give them as much positive and honest encouragement and feedback and words as we can. So we plant dreams for a positive future while we encourage the smallest success. When we are at the craft table, well, you're really artistic. Have you ever thought of doing something like that? I mean, not planning their career for them, but encourage them. See things that they do well and they don't hear that. Well, you're really a good reader. You're really, wow, you did great in singing. Oh, I like the way you dance. That's what Jeremiah would say. But there's so many things that we can see on an everyday basis. Take the opportunities to affirm those in the kids. Teach the value of good character, consequences of sin, and distancing bad influences. It's just kind of telling them, but some of it we can demonstrate at camp. If Daryl and I are standing next to each other and we keep fighting, my counselor might say, why don't we come over here? Get away from that bad, let's come over here, because you and Daryl seem to be, whatever. I'm demonstrating ways that they can do it. Oh, let's go to do you want to go over to the wellness tent? Teaching them that there are options besides having bad character and making bad choices. Communicate and model skills for developing good friendships. One of the, I think the most powerful things we have to do that at camp is our relationship with each other. That's why I think it's so important that there is absolutely no negative talking at camp, even if you don't think the kid's around, because they'll hear it. There's absolutely no judgmental talking. Did you see what Rich did with those kids today? I was about to go tell Cynthia. No, if there's something that needs to be talked about, you go, hey Rich, can I talk to you for a second about something? I don't talk to anybody else about it. Things like that. Can you believe we're at this campground this year? Oh, it's terrible. None of that stuff. Because we don't need to anyway, but because we don't want the kids to hear that, because we're different. We're believers. We follow Jesus and we reflect Him. So we're going to be encouraging and show them good skills. Oh, I'm sorry, James. I ran into you. Will you forgive me for that? It was an accident. Whatever those things are, or helping or things like that. Just be very dramatic about it, but realistic. But we want them to pick those things up. And then the fourth one is, like the song I just said, reorient the campers. And we are going to tell them as many ways and as many times as we can that they are valuable. Whether they feel like it, whether the people around them think it, they are valuable in God's sight. In fact, the whole drama is about, it's kind of a treasure hunt. And it's about, at the very end of it, they learn that they are what is valuable to God. So there's lots of opportunities to do that during the week. Oh, sorry, I didn't do that, didn't I? Oh, I already, okay. I forgot to take out that page. Reinforce scholastic excellence and teach problem-solving skills. We're not there to teach them to read, to teach them manners, correct this or correct that or whatever. But we are there to, if they're reading, when they each get a Bible on the first day of reading that, wow, good job, encouraging them to do that. There will be some kids that don't know how to read. So counselors, be sensitive to that. If they always say no or something like that, you can say, can I read that for you or can I help you read it? Same thing with our mail that comes every day. Some of them will just look it up, but they don't quite know. So don't assume, but don't say, do you know how to read? Just kind of be sensitive and figure that out. But we want to teach them those kind of things. It's a process that we're all learning it. And problem-solving skills. One of your kids wants to be at activities and one of them wants to be at woodworking. And so you might say, okay, there's two of you and you want to be at different places. What's a good way for us to do this? And actually talk about with them. If they don't come up with anything, well, let's see, we could do that one first and then that one or that one. Teach them how to process those things to find solutions. No harmony. To find solutions, to process problems that come up. It's a great opportunity for that. Model that asking for help is strength, not weakness. Asking for help is not a weakness. It's evidence of a strong person, actually. And demonstrate that a pattern of success and a new experience leads to a more fulfilling life. There will be a lot of things that we do at camp that for some of them it'll be the first time. I've already looked at some of the apps where it says they're not a very good swimmer. Who knows, they might be swimming across that shallow end for the first time this camp. and we're going to just tell them how awesome it is. We're going to say, you don't need to be afraid. It's okay if you don't want to do this. But you know, when I was afraid of that, I tried it, and now I do it every chance I get. Teaching them things like that. Who did the zip line? Who was that? Kathleen? No, who didn't want to do the zip line? Was that you, Tina? And finally did it?
A child who did it was terrified, but she did it 20 minutes. It took her to come back.
Yeah, but she loved it.
And loved it.
Yeah, so it's those kind of things where encourage them to try new things. We're not going to make them do anything, but maybe share something from your own life where, oh, I was so scared when this happened, but I tried it, and man, I do it every chance I get. Okay, understanding our own challenges, desires, and capabilities. So these are the things that we're thinking now, or we'll be thinking at camp. Can I help the campers? How can I help them? Am I going to be able to do this? Am I committed enough? Am I committed enough to Jesus? When we're just talking about sharing all my daily disciplines, do I do those? Am I prepared? Am I ready for this week at camp? And am I willing to do everything it takes? Be a servant, put the kids first, not think about myself. These are the answers to that. Is we can't do any of that on our own, but God can do it through us. There's a verse in Corinthians, and it's Paul, or Jesus talking to Paul, after he said, Lord, please take this away from me, whatever it is, take this away, take this away. And Jesus said, my grace is sufficient for you, because my strength is made perfect in your weakness. We all come with just what we have, and we're weak, because we're human. But as we open ourselves up to God, He's going to love those kids through us. For some of these kids, this might be the first time in a long time they've been treated nice or talked to rather than yelled at. We get to, just by our kindness, we can break through those shells. We see a wide range of things at camp. Some kids, on the first day, they don't want to have anything to do with anybody, and by the end of it, they're like standing up in front, leading everything. There's some kids who are kind of shy on the first day, and then they're shy on the last day. There's all kinds of differences. Don't compare the kids with each other. Don't compare the campers with someone, if you're a returning camp, or if you've counseled at any camp before, don't compare them to that. We only compare them to Jesus. The Bible says to compare ourselves among ourselves is not wise. The only thing that they should compare themselves to, and that we should compare ourselves to, is what God wants for us, not the people around us. And like I said, some of them will have these huge breakthroughs that it was just amazing. There was a little girl, I think I've told the story, one year, last day we were given photo albums, and she had been all week, she just did not want to engage with anybody. And finally when we handed her the photo album, she took the grandpa picture out of it, and she ripped it in half, and took the grandpa out and put it in the trash, and then she was fine. The rest of the day she was happy. But that was a thing, we had no idea about that. So there's things that we don't know, that just like there's things that we have in our lives that no other people don't know, what might be a trigger for us or make us why we are the way we are. So just be praying that God will work in their lives, and we'll be able to look back on it when we come to the Welcome Home Babies and talk about it. We're just one small part of the process. We're a seed, you know, the grower throws the seeds out, and that's what we're doing. We're just planting seeds. We don't have to, you know, the goal is not by Friday to have them pray the sinner's prayer. We want to love them to Jesus. We want to demonstrate a healthy, godly people. Here's some words of wisdom for volunteers. Today, and every day until camp, give your expectations to God. So I went to camp. I was an assistant director and even a director for several years before I ever went as a counselor. And when I went as a counselor, I was going to be the best counselor. I mean, it's Gwen. How could it not be the best counselor, right? My girls were just going to think, oh, Miss Director, Gwen is the best counselor. In my mind. I couldn't get on time to meals. I couldn't get on time to, you know, different colored socks. It was, take the expectations off yourself. Go there asking God to use you, and go there to serve the kids and each other, however God wants to do that. Our only expectations that are realistic is that God is going to work. God is going to work, there's no doubt about it. God is going to work through each and every one of us that can. We talked about this before, prayer partners. How many of you already have asked somebody to be your prayer partners? Yeah, okay. So maybe today you would want to talk to somebody and say, hey, I'm doing this camp in 3 weeks. Less than 3 weeks? 3 weeks. And I need people to pray for me. You might even ask 2 or 3 people to do that. I've heard stories of people who have done that. They're having a bad moment at camp. Oh gosh, I don't know how I'm going to survive this. That night, they're in the break room. They get a text from their prayer partner that says, I was really praying for you at about 4 o'clock today. Is everything okay? And it was just that moment. Have these people, ask them to pray for you. Give them specific things. Pray for me that I won't have bad expectations or too many expectations. All those kinds of things. Everybody get a minimum of 1 prayer partner before camp. Remember, camp is for the campers, and the campers need to be loved, not managed. A lot of times kids go to a camp, whatever, and there's love there, but it's more like, hey, give them to the next place, give them to the next place, give them to the next place. It's about, we want these kids to feel like they're valuable, they're important, their time is as important as our time. Campers don't want anything that different than us. You know, in scripture where it says, basically treat other people the way that you want to be treated. They want to be noticed and valued and acknowledged for their own value. They might be one of 5 kids in a home, and they're the runt of the litter, so to speak. They get blamed for everything. They, whatever. Let's value and encourage every single one of them. So no matter what their pecking order is, where they live, they feel valuable. That's the same thing that we want. Don't you love it when people remember your name? Sorry, I'm really bad at it. But when people remember, you walk into Starbucks and they say, hi, Gwen, you want a chai tea latte? Sure, I'll take that. I haven't been there for that long time, but they knew my name, and it just makes you feel special. Call your campers by name. Use their name. In fact, I made little signs with the meaning of their names on them, and all the adults too. But you'll get those to put by your campers' beds. They'll say the value of their name. Talk about what it means. Talk about what the Bible verse is with it. Encourage them with that. It's really a cool way. But use their name, and as much as you can in the dining hall and in the pool. It's a little harder because they don't have name tags on. I thought of getting tattoos, but I don't know. But try to use their name, and that's yet another reason why name tags need to be on all the time. Always, always, always. If we see you without a name tag, if we see your camper without a name tag, we'll say, could you go get your name tag? And Miles had this brilliant idea, so we got hooks to put in every cabin. They'd be by the door. They're going to stick on there, and you're going to hang them up. Who's going to lose them? They're going to be right there by the door. So that. But if perchance, I could probably look at a few of you and know we're going to lose them, we can make a new one. Okay, and then express genuine generosity to the kids. We're going to tell the kids on the first day, we don't work here. And they're like, you don't? No, this is our vacation. We just wanted to come spend the week with you. Like, this isn't your job, you're not getting paid for this? No, we're here. I wanted to do this week because I think you're special. Be generous to them let them know. I'm not like, I'm so great, but let them know. They often are devalued. And so we want to express generosity as much as we can. We believe that the best things we can give the children we serve is the exposure to God's love, grace, healing, and belief. Those are the things that we think about. Oh, do I want to, bring this for them, or do I want to do that? Or those are all great. But if they could go experiencing God's love, His grace, some healing, and move their belief in God a little bit farther along, we have accomplished what we want to do. That's what we want God to do through us. We cannot pour out what we do not have within us. So we all need to, besides getting a prayer partner, we need to think about that week is going to be, we're going to be giving, and giving again. It's going to be physically exhausting. It's going to be emotionally exhausting. It's going to be spiritually exhausting. Do I hear an amen from anyone? You don't want to get just completely wrung out, so you need to, between now and camp, spend time asking God to give you what you need for that week. Asking God to give you the strength that you need that week. I'd suggest you get a little bit of extra sleep the week before. There's wherever you are, you can give to the kids what God can work through you, what is in you. So if you're open to God and the Holy Spirit, He will do that. So be thinking these next couple weeks, and not only having a prayer partner, but praying yourself, that God would make you the vessel that He can use that week. So understanding how a personal experience of abuse and neglect can affect you. So many of us, or some of us, have been through trauma in our lives. I'm going to use myself as an example. Let me start there. I'm going to use myself as an example here. So, is it time? Okay. Let me see, how many more do I have? Hold on, sorry. I won't use myself as an example then. We have all had experience in our lives that affect other experiences in our life. So we need to, we've talked with everyone in training, and if that is you, we've talked about if you've dealt with it or whatever. But different things, if you hear someone yell, if a kid hears someone yell, they could, it might scare them. If you just raise your hand to do this, they might flinch. We just have to be conscious of what those things can do to the kids, but also be aware of when we see some of that happening, is that triggering something in me? Hopefully you've dealt with that, but if you haven't, step away. Go chat with Kathleen, or she's not there to counsel you about all your years of abuse, but step away and talk to somebody. We tried that one year. So just be aware that things that are in your past, if they trigger something, ask God to help you to see that so that you can step away and deal with that at that time. We all want to be able to relate to the campers, relate to people. It doesn't always mean, oh man, when I was growing up, my dad used to hit me all the time. Oh, I know just what you mean. No. We're not doing that. We're relating to them, but we don't want them. You might say something like, yeah, I had some rough stuff, but you don't want to share all of your stuff with them. That isn't helpful to them. We do that because we want them to share with us, but that's not the goal. Our goal is not to hear all of their stuff. It's none of our business. You can relate and understand. Just do it on I don't know the way to call it, a distant level maybe, where you can relate to them but not specifically. Be general about it. And remember that it is not our job as counselors. We are not counselors as in therapists. We're counselors as in we're helping them go where they're supposed to go during camp and being an influence to them. We're not going to talk through all of their problems or all of their issues. Excuse me, that's not what camp is for. That's a sign I've been talking too much. And Kathleen and Melinda will be there if anybody needs to be talked to about anything. Just read it. And the second one here, it said you may experience, but you will, it's just a given, you will experience anger, you'll experience sadness, you'll experience hatred. There's a lot of things that you'll have these kids, you'll be doing something with them, and you're thinking, this child is adorable. How could anyone? The first year I went to camp, and I wasn't a counselor. But I came home and I cried for 3 days because I just thought, these kids are just such sweet kids. Why do they have to do that? So it's going to be stressful for you. It's going to be stressful. You're going to experience those. But we have to give those to the Lord because He takes care of them before camp. Yes, He's has them in the palm of His hand. And when they leave camp, they're back in the palm of His hand. We are not their Savior. We are not any of those things. So just be aware that those feelings will come up and ask God to help you process those for your sake and for the kids. Am I way over time? Okay, you got all that? Okay, good, I'm done.
Not follow directions. They may have fights. Thankfully, we have the wellness tents to try to help with that, but that's very normal. And so basically, part of our training is to kind of warn you guys what could happen. We don't want to hear the counselors say, you never told us this could happen on Thursday. We're telling you this probably will. And some of them may be just completely fine, but it is very common on Thursday for us to start seeing some of those behaviors. And then Friday, we try to make it happy and show a happy and healthy way of saying goodbye, but it's tough. It's tough to say goodbye. And I know it's been mentioned before, but I'm just going to say it again. Counselors, we are not allowed, anybody here, we're not allowed to keep in contact with the kids. And so if you're thinking, well, I know it's sad that we're leaving, but here, I'll give you my phone number. We cannot do that. They are words of the state. We are not allowed to have any contact with them after our week at camp. So as Gwen was mentioning, what are you going to bring to camp for the week? We've got that week. That's what God is giving us to give to these kids, and then that's it. Leah mentioned the mentoring club. We did for several years have the mentoring club, and that was a great way to bridge from one summer of camp to the next summer. Unfortunately, with COVID and everything, we've stopped doing the mentoring club, but hopefully we'll be able to bring it back. But as it is right now, it's our week, and then we can't see them again, and so there can be absolutely no contact. Okay, this next slide basically says what I kind of just did. Monday, arrival, everything's new and exciting. Tuesday, getting a little more comfortable, we're all having fun. Wednesday, we're really comfortable, and it's the birthday party. And then Thursday, starting to think about going home tomorrow. So they could be sad, they could be acting out, and that's basically what that graph was showing. Okay. The great opportunity that we have is to model how to handle transitions well. So we want to plan ahead, and that's why I'm wearing this lovely thing to show you guys. This is yours, Ed. It has Ed's name on here, so we'll all have our names on our little pouches. And if you have, chapstick or something to put in here, there's a little zipper. And then this is really what I wanted to show you guys. We're going to have a schedule for the entire week. Done out on these little cards for you guys, and everybody will have this, and we'll be wearing it at all times. We have to wear our name badges at all times, besides when you're asleep. And Miles, we took your suggestion, and we have a little hook for every cabin for us to all put our lanyards on. Okay, so this thing right here is the schedule, and you want to share it with your kids. I mean, you'll be wearing it, but let them look at it because it helps them to go, oh, okay, we're at breakfast now, so what's next? Oh, next we're going to go to breakfast club. Okay, then we're going to go to activities. Okay, then we're going to go to the prayer lines. Then we're going to go to lunch. They like to see that, so share it with them, and you'll know every single minute of the day pretty much. Okay, so plan ahead by letting them see that, and also by telling them, hey, we have 10 minutes until we have to, get ready to go to the next thing. Give them a heads up about upcoming changes, and ask how they want to do something. Say you go, hey, in 10 minutes we're going to need to go to lunch. I don't want to go to lunch, I want to keep doing this. Well, just turn it around and say, well, you know what? We are going to go to lunch, but why don't I give you a choice? We can either go up the stairs by the amphitheater, or we can take the wooden stairs that go this way. Which way would you prefer to do it? And now they're not so concerned about, oh, I didn't want to go to lunch. I'm being given a choice. Oh, let's do the wood stairs. Okay, let's go. And give them the choice. All right, how do we help them navigate this at camp? We're going to keep all the camp policies and rules consistent. Remember where we are in the cycle each day. That's where this comes in, to let them see. Remind the campers of the good things that are happening each day. Like, gosh, we're making such great memories, aren't we? Look at all the new friends that we've made here at camp, and new skills like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you learned how to bike ride on your first day and now you're so good at it. Or swimming. We have a beautiful pool, you guys, and we're going to be swimming 4 days out of the 5. Friday we're leaving, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to have time in the pool. It's going to be great. Whoops. I thought I had a schedule. Okay, so some daily transitions are arriving. That's certainly a big transition. They've been on the bus for 2 hours, and then they come and there's all these crazy people welcoming them with signs, and I just called you crazy. Wonderful people welcoming them with signs and smiles and everything. Going to breakfast club after breakfast is a transition. All the meal times, more transitions. As we change in activities, either going from rec and then to the pool, or from pool time to, it doesn't go straight to bedtime, but pool time to the next meal, and so on, and then bedtime, another transition. There's just a lot of transitions during the day, and part of the reason I'm doing this right now is to make us aware. We don't think anything of it. Oh, it's lunchtime. Oh, okay, now it's pool time. But for the kids, it can be difficult, so we want to prepare them for it by telling them, hey, next after lunch, we're going to be doing this, and then after that, we're going to be doing this. Kind of try to prepare them so that it's not so traumatic for them. All right, daily transition tools. Talk about what's coming. And then be on time always. We need to demonstrate for the kids being on time. Is Ethan Salter still here? Where did he go? Oh, okay. Boy, he needed to hear that. We need to be on time to everything. So on your schedule, it very specifically says at 8:30 is breakfast. Well, at 8:20, we have prayer lines so that we're all there already, ready to go. So counselors, staffers, everybody needs to be on time. So if you don't have a watch, if you don't wear a watch, maybe you're like, I don't need a watch, I have my phone. Well, you might not have your phone at camp, and we actually don't want you to be going, what time is it? What time is it? So please get a watch so that you know exactly what time it is. All of us will have these schedules, so you'll know exactly what time we need to be meeting, and we expect everybody to be on time. Okay, help the campers be on time. So the hook that Miles suggested, that's going to save us so much time, you have no idea. We're ready to leave for breakfast in a cabin, and oh my gosh, I can't find my my name thing. We all have to have this on. Even the kids have one of these. They don't have the schedule, but they have one of these name tags. I believe that has their picture. I'm not positive about the picture. We used to do pictures, but I think it'll just have their names, which is very helpful when there's 36 kids and you're going, oh, are you Johnny or Sammy? I don't remember. So they'll have their name badges, and they have to have that on, and so it'll be really nice to have it just hooked up there. Nobody has to look anywhere for them. Don't expect them to know, but set them up for success. So again, let them look at this so they know exactly what's coming in. It's not a surprise. Model appropriate attitude and behavior. If they kind of start, I don't really want to go to breakfast club, or I don't really want to go to whatever it could be, try to turn that around, okay? Don't let them make it negative for your other camper, you know. Hey, what are some of the things that we learned yesterday at that? That was kind of fun, and we were laughing at that, and, you know, bring up some of the positive things and model that appropriate behavior and attitude. Don't add to their anxiety by amping them up. So I suppose this can be for anybody, but especially the guys. Okay, you can't be like amping them up so much and then it's like, oh, we expect you to sit down and listen, but you've got them so riled up that they can't, so don't add to that, okay? Like, okay, we're going on to this thing. This is gonna be an activity where we're gonna be sitting and listening, participating or whatever, but don't like amp them up so much and then, for example, after breakfast, they go to breakfast club and the counselors basically drop them off at breakfast club and then they go to a meeting. So all the staffers will be at breakfast club, and if you counselors have amped them up so much and then you just leave them, that's not fair to the staffers. So know what the next activity is and what's appropriate for them. Okay, I really thought I had a sample schedule, but you guys will all be getting this. We are still in the process of kind of fine-tuning it, but we pretty much have our schedule set, and you guys will be getting this. Okay, our next little segment, and we have 25 minutes for it. We have 4 experienced volunteers, if you guys can come up, Ed, Rich, Carrie, and Tina. If you'll hand me chairs, we're gonna have them up here, and you guys get your questions ready for them. It can be a counselor question, it can be about anything, and I think Gwen is helping with the lunch, so I will also be available to answer questions if there's anything they're not sure about. You guys are getting your questions ready, right? Yes. Okay, while you're thinking about your questions, Tina thought of something she wanted to add.
With the schedule and everything, and how, where I was supposed to, just what I've learned too, being in the cabin with kids, make sure the adults you're working to as a team. That, you know, not just with your kids going, oh, we have to be here. It helps when the whole cabin is working as a team. That you guys know, oh, we're going to be leaving, as the adults know, we're leaving in 10 minutes for breakfast. We need to all be ready. Because it helps with the kids too, if all the adults are on the same page. So that was just that.
Hey, how's it going? Okay, so I kind of really want to share this because I know a lot of us, including myself, we don't have a lot of energy during the week. So I'm just encouraging everybody here who doesn't really do much exercise to start. Just even if you have to get up an extra 15 minutes just to walk around the block or do a little jog, some push-ups, whatever, because you're going to need it. It's very helpful because your kids are going to want to go on bicycles, and I'm the one who's going to be taking them around a lot, so I don't want to do all the work. So, and as far as like teaching your kids if they do not know how to ride a bike, I've kind of developed a way to do it. So when the time comes, if you do need a child to learn how to ride a bike, just let me know and I'll kind of show you. But just do some exercise because you're going to need it. They're going to want you to play soccer. They're going to want you to play baseball. They're going to want you to go on the jump or whatever. And it helps. So just, that's what I would recommend starting today.
It just dawned on me that I didn't introduce the panel. So this is Richard Ray. He's in charge of recreation. And so he does a lot of the bikes and all the fun rec stuff. And so that's Richard. Tina Burkhart, she has been a counselor for how many years? 4 years, and then this year she's going to be the Dean of Women, so kind of overseeing the women counselors. And then Carrie Dufton, if any of you were first year last year, you may not know her, but she did camp for 10 years before, took a little break, and now she's back, and she's going to be another dog person. She has a therapy dog who's coming in addition to Harmony. And your puppy's name is? Journey. So we'll have Harmony and Journey. And then Ed Ludwig has done camp 18 to 20 years. He's been a counselor before. He has been Dean of Men, and he is also going to be Dean of Men this year. All right, so where's our next question from out there? Daryl.
So you've done this for a long time, so what would be one of your more memorable experiences? Or a couple?
I have lots of memories, yeah, and I guess I can touch on that just because of what Gwen was saying. For all of you first-timers, I do remember the lesson that I took away from camp is that we teach all of you all of these lessons, right, and all of these important ways to kind of help your campers adjust and to be prepared for all those situations. And I remember going to camp, my first camp, which was down in San Diego, and I remember calling my mother on the way down, asking her to pray for me because I was thinking, I've made a mistake. I always look at it like Satan was really just getting on my nerves. And I called my mom and just said, please pray for me because I think that I've overstepped here. But I had a really awesome experience at camp. But literally for me, I didn't approach it with the attitude like Gwen had talked about, like I'm gonna be the best camper and I'm gonna change these people's lives and they're just gonna be better people after the first year. But we did have an experience. We had a different camp setting. We had 4 counselors and 8. I think we had 8 kids in this cabin. So we had a lot of different interaction and a lot of different issues that each of the kids came with. But literally, I had to put my training into effect the whole time because we had a lot of, I think we had Gwen in our cabin every night for the first 3 nights, trying to calm the kids down, trying to go to sleep. So I know one of the things that we try to tell you is that you won't have to use this training and you won't need it, and that the kids really do want to just have camp and have fun. But I was quickly reminded that, okay, all of this is for a reason, and we did put it into to good use. And I had 2 campers, as we all talked about, that were diametrically opposed. They didn't want to do anything that the other wanted to do, so we had to learn that quickly. And I remember thinking, when we did say goodbye, that I had failed. Like, oh my gosh, like they're not showing the kind of emotion that I would want them to feel. But I luckily got to see one of those campers a few years later. He came back to this church, and I recognized him, and I didn't think he would recognize me, but he asked his parents if he could, or whoever he was with, if he could come over, and he gave me the biggest hug and just told me what a wonderful time at camp he had. And I was like, wow, it took a while, but that was a nice way for me to end that whole journey.
Something I'll tell for the new counselors, just remember, you're not alone. You have a whole team here of people to help you. So I know some of this might seem overwhelming, and you're going, what kind of child might I end up with, or what would their struggles be? But you're not alone. If there's any problems, if you're overwhelmed, grab somebody. Let them know of your struggles. So just relax and enjoy this and pray about it, because you're with the team, you're with the royal family. Bruce wants to know when it's nap time.
Thanks for throwing me under the bus.
There is no nap for adults. You
All right, so since we're concerned about breaks, if you are a counselor, we have a specific break time for you guys at the end of the day. So you have given, and then it's the end of the day. You're going to get your kids ready for bed, and then at 9:15, two staffers are going to come and relieve you. You have an hour break. Go do whatever you want. We have a break room for you guys with lots of yummy snacks. You can go hang out with all the other counselors at the break room. You can go for a walk and be by yourself. You can, I guess, take a nap. I don't know where you would go because your cabin is not an option. But you have an hour break, so that's counselors. And then for staffers, right after lunch each day, the kids have something that's called 30-30 time. It's supposed to be 30 minutes of rest and 30 minutes of like activities. They usually never rest. And so it's an hour in your cabin that you kind of do whatever, they want to do. Maybe paint nails for the girls or play some games with the boys. They do have activity books that we give them, so you can do that if you'd like. But you have an hour in the cabin with the counselors. So staffers, that's when you get a break, okay? So you can go to the break room, you can do whatever you want, okay? All right, next question. Mike.
The dean of men and dean of women, maybe explain that role a little bit more. How that plays.
So yes, Dean of Men, Dean of Women. Our main job, I'll be doing overseeing men's, Tina for the women. My job is really to check in with all of you counselors, just to make sure that you have what you need to do your job. We'll be walking around, we'll be overseeing how the camp is going. As Tina said, you're not alone. So hopefully we'll be there. You wouldn't even have to ask us or ask for help. We're going to be just checking in to see how the dynamics of the camp is going, how the dynamics between you and your campers is going. We'll be there in the morning, we'll be there in the afternoon, and at night, at bedtime, just to see how things are going. Cynthia and Gwen usually have things that they have us do, or there's changes to the schedule, or things that we need to make you aware of. We'll be making sure that you get that information. I'm going to try, as we speak a little later today, talk to you about what to do when your campers first get there, what to make sure they've got, so that you don't end up during the week finding out that, they don't have enough clothing, or they don't have enough shoes or bathing suits, something like that, so that you don't have to embarrass them, or they don't have to be embarrassed to tell you that. So we'll just be making sure that you are able to be the best counselor for them and handle all their needs. And likewise, if you have an issue that you think we need to be aware of, we want you to make sure that you know who to go to if you have some concerns. Does that help?
No, definitely not right now.
If the campers are asking about our own personal life, like our kids, things like that, is that okay to share whatever, kids, family, that kind of thing? Is there anything off?
Sure, you can tell me you're married, you have kids, but like they've said before in the training, just kind of keep it. It's about them. That's what we want to focus on the most. It's about them. So, but joyous things, loving things like that. They like to hear that, because they will ask you personal questions for sure about yourself. Are you married? Do you have kids and stuff like that? So, I was going to make a suggestion that because we are going to be by the pool quite a bit, if you guys want to bring a chair, like one of those beach chairs or something, that way you can keep it right there. I think they have a deck close to your cabin, so you can have a chair and I always tell Cynthia that we should, anybody who has little telescopes, if they want to just bring something so they can share something at nighttime with the kids. It's like, hey, you want to see the moon through a telescope? I'm sure a lot of these guys don't. They've never done that or never had the opportunity, so you have something like that. Just bring something that they would enjoy, that you would enjoy, to share with them as well.
gonna let Kathleen answer that question. Oh, Nate wants to know, do we ever have to deal with fighting? That's kind of funny. That's why I thought we should ask Kathleen.
Yes, the answer to that is yes. But the last 2 years since we've had the wellness tents, we haven't had any like, fighting incidents. I mean, we've had some power struggles, but we really haven't had the need to restrain or, take them to the room that has nothing in it. So that's been a real positive. So yes, there are times where we have to deal with fights. But yeah, we just stabilize them. So when that happens, you can just call for the therapist and then we'll come in and we'll try to intervene and, distract them, pull them into another environment, take a walk. Yeah, so sometimes just another person, a different person is helpful, so.
At that point, grab them, push them.
You definitely want to make sure that they're safe. That's the first thing. So if they need to be pulled apart, yes, you want to. And then in most circumstances, say we're at rec or we're at the pool or whatever, we're going to be surrounded by people and you won't even need to say anything. Everybody's going to know it's happening, right? But if you're in your cabin, then yes, make sure that they're safe. And if you need to bring somebody else in, hey, go get the Dean of Men or get anybody who's out there. We'll go from there. But I was going to say, Kathleen is going to do a segment after lunch specifically about the wellness tents. So some of the things she's going to tell us about will hopefully give you the tools to try to de-escalate, or not really de-escalate, stop something from starting by maybe saying, you know what, I can kind of see that this is going somewhere. How about we go for a little walk and go to see Kathleen or something like that.
Safe, I would recommend you vocalize that to them. So let them know, we need to keep you guys safe so that they don't think you're going to harm them or, you're, on somebody's side. Like, you just need to let them know, like, this is for safety, so that we can, we don't have any issues. So.
Okay. Yes, so I think we mentioned this at the first training, but for somebody who wasn't there, or just to remind you, if you take medication and you're going to be in a kid's cabin, you may not keep your medication with you. It has to be given to the nurses, that they'll be able to lock it up. That's for the safety of the kids. If you are in a staffer cabin and you have your own medication, you may keep it there. And then the kids will possibly have medication that will also be with the nurses and locked up, and then we'll give directions as to how the kids are going to get their medications. Right, so we talked about the first aid room that's by the pool. I believe that's where we're going to be able to lock up the medication.
Since it's our first time there this year, it's a little different, so I think that will be locked up. If not, we'll find out and tell you on the first day where.
So new people, this is everybody's first time at this camp, so we're all learning together as far as that's concerned. Okay, Rich has something else to say.
Of course. The day that we get there, so the day before we leave, I don't know if anybody's mentioned if you guys can help out when we meet over here at the storage containers, and it's Saturday, and I'm not sure what time we're going to meet, probably in the morning, I'm sure, 9 o'clock. It's helpful if everybody comes because we have a lot of stuff to load up, but the same thing is when we get to camp, there's a lot of things to unload, and we're going to have them in separate designated spots. If you find yourself that you don't know what's going on, just ask somebody, because somebody will put you somewhere to do something. Because we only have essentially half a day to get ready before the kids come the next day. So I know Monday morning people are going to be getting stuff ready at camp, in their cabins, but for the outside, the things for rec and crafts and things like that, there's always stuff to do there. It'll keep you busy like till nighttime before you go to bed. So just try to volunteer just get in there. And also, during the pool time, we talked about this, during the pool time, we're gonna all be together for the most part. And if a counselor needs a little bit of time to get away, that's actually a good time to ask a couple staffers, hey, can you watch my kids? I gotta go use the restroom for 10 minutes or something. But it's actually a really good time. If you need a little break, that's a good time to ask. If you don't want to wait all till evening.
If you absolutely need a break, do that. But if you can be in the pool, that is the best time for the kids. So you don't want to miss it. I mean, if you're about to drop and you need a break, do that. But I'm telling you, the pool is one of the most fun places for the kids. You can really connect. It's basically a stress-free zone. Lots of one-on-one interaction with the kids and all that. So I would encourage everybody to be in the pool, including counselors, to do it.
The goal is to take over the pool because we're gonna have another camp there, and just bring some summer along.
I was going to say, again, this is about blessed are the flexible. This is, as much as we're trying to prepare you, none of this could happen or twice as much could happen. So it's just about going in just with praying and having God prepare your heart for this, but having an open mind and fun. Just know kids are unpredictable, so we do not know what we're going to walk into, and this being a new camp, it's unpredictable. So we don't know what's going to happen at the time. So flexibility and just working as a team is going to be very important this year.
We have to wear these shirts all week, or?
No. Shirts are only to be worn, I believe, the first day the campers get there. Well, church on Sunday, we will all wear our shirts. Then take them off and keep them clean for Monday. When the kids arrive, we will all want our shirts on. And then at that point, they do not need to be worn until Friday, where the kids get to sign them. Kids and counselors and staff all get to sign your shirts.
Last question. All right, if you are ready? David wants to talk.
No, I don't want to talk. I just want to go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, when we're ready to go, I'm going to have the even numbered tables go first. Then go ahead.
So today's really unique. I can get my be like that where Maria gets smacked in the face. Okay, so we have a pulled pork sandwich for you. You don't have to have the bun if you don't want it, but it's Gwen made her special pulled pork. We have cowboy beans. They do have tri-tip in them and onions and green peppers, so it's not a vegetarian, but it is lightweight. We extracted all of the fat out of it. We have a potato salad. It is mayonnaise and mustard based. So again, just in case you have allergies, but the biggest allergy is possible is the coleslaw. It does have peanuts in it, and it's not a cream-based coleslaw. It is a vinaigrette-based coleslaw. So I'll let Cynthia call out the names, and we're out the tables, and we'll be ready to go.
And will you pray for us, please?
Father God, thank you so much for this beautiful day, Lord. Thank you for all of these people, Lord, who are willing to be your servants for this week. We just thank you for the ministry opportunities that Seacoast provides for us with Royal Family. And we thank you, Lord, for the generous donations of the food that Dave and Gwen have provided. We just ask that the food bless our bodies so we may further glorify you. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right, this is our grandma and grandpa, you guys, that were able to be with us last time. So John and Bonnie Pete are our official grandma and grandpa at camp, and they're going to tell us a little bit about what they do.
All right, well, we get to give you guys a little break. We get to just hang out with the kids. We get to show children what a healthy relationship with grandparents is. And we just sit there, we ask them some questions, we talk to them, try to get to know them a little bit. we sugar them up and send them back to the cabins with you guys. But we just want to give them an opportunity to relax and just feel comfortable and ask questions, and we'll try to answer their questions for them, and just love them and let them have a relaxed moment, some time. Over the course of the time in the camp, they will first come in, as you've learned, they come in like this, and we'll give them some cookies and they'll leave. And by the end of the camp, some of them will be asking, can we go sit with Grandpa and Grandma? Can we go have cookies and punch with them and just sit and talk and ask questions and just feel the love and just the love that we can provide them that they may not have in their relationships.
Yeah, so to kind of add on to that, we've only done this for a couple of years, so some of you are very experienced. But one of the things we learned, as John said, is it starts slow, and it may start slow for you as well, but it starts slow in terms of them gaining trust of us, of who we are, what we're there for. And then once they realize we're really not a threat, right? We're there just, as John said, to love them and to really just talk to them and ask them, what did you do today? What fun did you have? You're going to go do that now? Did you do your woodworking project? And it's fun, honestly. We have one of the best jobs, I consider, because not only do we get to talk to these great kids, but we also get to enjoy milk and cookies. So, okay. I get to enjoy it. John doesn't really eat them, but I do. So.
Well, so there are some other things we do besides eating cookies and milk. So part of our job too is at the camp you've learned about all the cards that are going to be written in the mail that gets written each day. Well, we take that and we read it and kind of make sure that it's all good, and then we will help sort it and make sure that it gets to the children so that they can enjoy that. What else do we do? We have a golf cart. We got to keep the kids off the golf cart. That's one of our big jobs too, is keep the golf cart from going crazy.
So we have our son Michael over here. Many of you know Michael. He goes with us. And honestly, yeah. Michael, are you there? He's like, oh, you're talking about me? But the great thing is they get to kind of see our relationship with Michael. He's kind of like the other grandchild that's there. And he just adds a lot to the group setting. And so it really has kind of an unintended type of, they get just a different perspective of like parents working with a child that, has their own challenges themselves. So anyway.
Yeah, I think, each of these children has their own challenge from the family that they are coming from. And being able to sit there and, there's Michael. He's really not shy, but I think when the kids see, Michael's got his challenges, they've got their challenges, and they see how we interact with him, it helps break down those barriers with the kids themselves. So, Cynthia, what else do we do? What else is our job? We just have fun. Yeah, we just make camp fun. I mean, we'll come around and just hang out when we don't have something scheduled, when we're not taking pictures and stuff like that. We'll just come around and hang out at the woodworking or at the crafts, or we'll make shirts, the tie-dye shirts or whatever that is going on. So we'll just jump in. Are we going to have Hot Wheels again this year? Are we going to have Hot Wheels? Yes? Okay. Hot Wheels is my favorite thing, so we'll make a big giant Hot Wheels course.
Yeah, so I'll say one other thing. So now, this is our third year, right? And one of the things that I absolutely love is the birthday day, and just seeing the excitement of the helpers that all come on that day, but as well as the kids and their faces and just running around, and it's just a crazy day. But one of the things that I took away is I'm also part of the Women's Club here in Cypress, and I got very excited about what they could do to help. And so we bought many of I think maybe all, but most of the presents. And I will tell you, these women absolutely loved it. We had a wrapping party about a week ago. You should have seen the smiles on their face. It was just awesome. So it doesn't just, you guys, it's the community, because they're like, well, tell me more about this, and what do you do, and can you take pictures back of them opening? I said, well, I probably can't, but I said I'll show you whatever I can. And so it was really great, because it it was a good way to get the community involved. So thank you guys for letting us do that. So
the last thing I'll say is, you know, as you see us around, if we can help you, please reach out to us. Let us know if we can help you. Maybe you've got someone that's just having a bad moment, a bad time, and they need some different scenery or something like that. Just let us know if we can help you in a challenging situation. We're happy to help because we got the cookies and milk. Thank you.
Did you guys notice John kept grabbing the microphone from Bonnie? Give it back, give it back. Yeah, just one more thing. So Bonnie mentioned it, but we just really want to thank the Women's Club for donating quite a bit to our birthday party and also doing the wrapping and everything. That was really great. So let's give her another round of applause. Okay, our next segment is about TBRI. Oh, and also the wellness tents, and also mandated reporters. So Melinda's going to start with mandated reporting, I believe, and then Kathleen will be up.
Yes, so is there a remote clicker? So mandated reporting, I'm not going to go through, everybody did the 2-hour training already, so if you have questions, also that, as you know, most of the kids are here because someone reported something to somebody. So if a child does disclose to you any other abuse and you are not sure, is this old that's been reported or is this something new? Your job is to report it. So when in doubt, you're going to go to Gwen, Cynthia, or Kathleen and just tell them. If a child discloses to you something that I think important words would be, I see, I hear you. Are you safe right now? And then distract, validate, right? And then go and report it. If we can click, yeah, go ahead. And you all learned who are the mandated reporters. So all the medical professionals here that are at camp are mandated reporters. There is a lengthy form if we feel this is something new that needs to be reported. That will be Gwen and Cynthia's job to do that, but we're going to say that that's not going to happen, but we don't know, right? So does anybody have any questions? That's your quick review of mandated reporting. Yes.
So if I hear a camper or if a camper says something to me about that they've been hurt, do I talk to all the internet accounts about it and find out, or what do I do?
That's a great question, Gwen. Great question. Yes, so the answer is no, right? You don't want to keep spreading that information. It should be confidential. So don't talk about it because then that person's going to tell somebody. Just go right to Gwen or Cynthia or Kathleen and talk to them about it. And then they can explore with the child. Is this something new? Is this something old? Is this something that should get reported legally through the chain of administration and process? Yes?
What if they don't say anything, but you see physical signs or actions, physical signs of abuse, or you say, you know, really abnormal places?
Okay, great question. Yes. So what if you see injuries on a child, like on the first day? They come there with injuries that look suspicious to you. I mean, you can certainly ask, hey, looks like you were hurt. How did that happen? Or you can just go ahead and report it to Gwen or the nurse, Kay, or Cynthia, and we can do that exploration with the child. Anybody else? You have lots of people to ask questions, right, and to get help. Okay, Kathleen.
I just wanted to tell you an example of that. So several years ago, one of our counselors at camp, a couple months after camp, said, you know, I've been thinking about it, and my girl, one of my girls, she said blah, blah, blah about that she was being hurt or her brother was hurting her or something. And I didn't think anything of it, so I didn't say anything, but I've been thinking about it, so I wanted to let you know. This was like 2 or 3 months after camp. I called social services, they did an investigation. Oh, we don't know what happened from it there. But if you are, you don't interview the child, you don't say, well, what happened? What did they do to you? Who did it? Let it go to the professionals, and they'll talk to them, and we'll report as necessary. We would rather you err on the side of caution. Tell us. We'd rather have you say, oh, I'm so embarrassed, it was nothing, than we find out that it was something. So that's just an example of why we do that.
Sorry, I was distracted. But when, yes, a kid, you suspect that there's something going on, maybe you see some marks on their body that seem to be in unusual places. Child has shared something that may sound like child abuse. Just, you know, if they're sharing with you, just respond to them and with your compassion, like, oh wow, it must have been hard, that must have been difficult. And then bring that up to either Gwen, myself, or Cynthia, and then we'll move on from there. So. All right, so you get the lovely pleasure of me talking about TBRI again. And so what I decided to do this time is to take what you've already learned and kind of layer it with new information or practical ways that you can use these interventions and in your work with the kids. So, and that's not just for the counselors. This is for the staff as well. So today I'm gonna give you the opportunity, like I did last time, to kind of work with your tables. And I may have to join a couple of groups because I don't think I have, yeah, really on that one, Becky. Because I don't have enough supplies. I think I'm lacking supplies on at least one table. So I think it's this table. So we might have to spread out, but. All right, so you should recognize this. We already talked about this. TBR has 3 principles. One of them is empowering, and that just really works on addressing the physical needs of the child. Number 2 is connecting. That addresses the attachment needs of the child. And then correcting, which addresses the behavior needs of the child. So I'm not going to go deeper into that because we already talked about that during our last session. Okay, so I changed. Next. This is falling apart. Next slide. Oh my goodness. My public speaking anxiety is really being challenged right now, guys. I'm not joking. I've been grounding all morning using my tense and my progressive muscle relaxation all morning.
Did you want some dad jokes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring them on.
Okay, first one. What is a pirate's favorite color? Orange.
All right, I think we're ready to go.
Oh, I got plenty more.
Okay, one more. I didn't prime you well enough. I didn't prep you. You get one more.
Okay, last one. What did the horse say after it tripped? Help, I've fallen and I can't giddy up. Arr, arr, arr.
Oh, those bad jokes. Thank you, John. so we're going to go deeper into this principle of empowering, and we're going to stay on the physiological. The slide before that, we're going to be on that slide. Thank you. All right, so the focus here is, like I said last time, is about meeting the internal physical needs of the child. So with this first principle of empowering, it's one of two overall strategies we are going to use, it's going to be important to be proactively working towards keeping our campers' behavior regulated and keeping their brains calm. That should be our primary focus. We want to keep them regulated and we want to keep their brains calm. That's called stabilization. So we can do this by making sure that the child's basic needs are met. So the first thing that we can do, or one of the basic things that we can do, is we can make sure that the child is hydrated. It's going to be really important not to wait till the child is showing signs of being thirsty or they're showing signs of being dehydrated. You're going to want to, just every 2 hours, that's what's recommended, every 2 hours you're going to want to get water in their system, okay? So that could be challenging because some kids are like, no, I don't want to drink water, I'm not thirsty. So I'm going to recommend that you just make it fun. Who can drink their water fastest? Drink with them, model that with them. But the goal here is to support optimal brain chemistry. So they know that hydration is really important to the body's functioning. So you're really that's just basic to keep the child stabilized. Another is healthy snacks. Healthy snacks are key in regulating blood sugar to optimal levels. It's recommended that kids eat healthy foods, again, every 2 hours. So, I mean, we have, I don't know if they've already said this, but we have snacks throughout the day, and then we have their meals. So you shouldn't have to worry too much about it, but some kids need more than others. So it's going to be really important to just check in with your kid. If you're noticing that they're getting a little agitated, maybe it's just a matter of them eating a healthy snack, putting that into their body to keep them regulated. So you're going to want to be paying attention to that. The types of snacks that we try to use at camp, because it has been shown that these types of snacks work well to keep that body working and functioning well, are protein-enriched snacks, vegetable snacks, low-carb crunchy snacks. These are all great options for optimal functioning. And this is just these are just simple practices to be proactive in limiting behavior. So the next topic down is meeting the sensory needs of the child. So some of you may be very familiar with sensory, what sensory is, or meeting sensory needs, and some of you may not. So I thought I'd just kind of give you a basic idea about what sensory processing is. Sensory processing is to have a sensation happen and interpret the sensation, and then the person has a reaction to that sensation. That's kind of how we process things in our environment. So sensory processing is how we relate to the environment. What was that? Around us. All types of experiences impact how we relate to the environment and to others. So how we relate and respond is based on our past experiences and what is happening internally. Okay, so our past experiences inform the brain of how to respond. So there's a great book out there, if you guys are more interested in this, called The Body Keeps Score. And it's by Dan Siegel. It's a wonderful book, and it talks about how our past experiences, we may not remember, or we may not understand what's going on, but a child that's as young as like a month old, where something happened to them, traumatic event happened to them, their mom didn't give them that nurture, you know, some way, in some form or fashion, they were abused or neglected. Even though that child doesn't have the ability to process that cognitively, their body, the child is experiencing experiencing the world through their body, and then their body holds that trauma, holds that memory. So it's really important to be aware of that with our kiddos, with our campers, because this is crazy. Because they may not even remember what's going on. They may not understand or have words as to why, you know, they feel a certain way or they're responding a certain way. And I want you to keep that in mind. Like we said, it's not bad behavior. Like, these children are just trying to do their best to process the world around them with the things that have happened in their life. But I have this little sentence here. As you heard in the video, no, scratching that. All right, but it's through our parents. It's through our parents' example that we, you know, learn how to read the world around us, or through our caregivers' example. So just think, if these kids missed out on that, then they're misunderstanding the world around them. You know, they could be misunderstanding the world. They may take something that you say and it just crosses wires and they don't understand. So it's really important not to make the assumption that they understand. Like, check in. If they're still seeming like they're confused or they're dysregulated, check in and make sure that, you know, about what's going on with them. Or maybe you have to determine that for them because they don't really understand. Just be aware. So an example I have here is if a child's under a loving parent or caregiver gets hurt, and the normal response would be they receive a snuggle, they receive a hug, they receive comforting touch from their parents, and that lets them know that they're safe. If a child hasn't received that relational care, such as probably many of our campers that will be at camp, they may seek out these needs, these sensory needs, these needs for touch, these needs for love, and in other ways. They may become fearful. They may respond to their environment around them in very inappropriate ways. So this is all in an effort to help themselves experience a sense of safety and calm. Okay? So, and then the body might get activated, and then they might shut down, or their behaviors might escalate. So, just be aware of that, you know? Look for those things in the environment to decide, is this part of why this child is having this behavior? Is the environment too overstimulating? Do they have, trouble, hearing loud noises? Maybe chapel's gonna be hard for them, so maybe we need to give them some earmuffs or some, we have them in church. We have them in church for a reason, because it's hard for some individuals to hear that loud worship music, and they are not able to maintain stabilization. So just be thinking about that. But it's going to be important to have your campers tell you what they like, what they don't like. And this is something good to figure out in the beginning when you're unpacking their bag, when you're getting to know them. Figure out what works for them, what doesn't work for them. Always honor the child. Always check in with them. Ask the child, why is this hard for you? So that you can help the child with getting to a place that feels safe and comfortable. All right. Yep. Thank you, Dale. So the other strategy here that goes along with empowering is just meeting the external and environmental needs. And so we talked a little bit last time about routines. Why routines? Because they help stabilize the child. So still going back to stabilizing the child, helping them perform at their optimal, providing good structure. And so what are some ways that we can do this? So what can we do as counselors and staff? So this is, you guys are going to be able to talk about this amongst your tables. What can we do as counselors and staff to make transitions and routines playful and exciting? So I want you to take a moment with your table and come up with one idea for making a transition or a routine playful and exciting. Because you want to be able to motivate them. I want you guys to start thinking about that. How do we motivate this child if they're having difficulty with transitions? How do we motivate them in a playful and exciting way? So kind of talk amongst your people at your tables, and then we'll get your ideas. All right, I'm going to give you another minute. All right, we're going to start with table number 3. All right, table number 3, what'd you guys come up with?
Oh, did you want some more dad jokes?
I'm just making a game out of it, or like, who can clean up the fastest at crafts? We're doing crafts. And then, or like, give them 2 choices. Hey, like, I love the idea. We can go up the stairs, or we can, go through the elevator. Give them choices, that's always good. And Patty likes to sing to them, so she could say, the ants go marching. Yeah, anyway.
Those are fun, playful ways. Challenge is always great. I think I said this last time. Is like challenging them, making it a competition, or about with themselves, like setting a timer. Oh, let's see if you could do this in a minute.
Yeah, then we talked about counting. Like, oh, I'm going to start counting. Let's see what we can get done in 30 seconds.
For sure. Thank you. Yeah, you can just pass that. Who wants to be the spokesperson?
Okay. We kind of suggested that, like on the way to places, like when transitioning between things, like you can make like some sort of competition, like speed walking competition, or like don't step on the cracks, or just see you, just make everything a game, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. Perfect. I love that. All right. Next.
Oh, I don't remember which ones I did. Singing as we go along, prepping. So like giving them like a 5-minute, 2-minute, 3-minute warning to help them get ready for the transition.
Yeah.
And then following the leader, like when we're going from the next one, and then hyping them up for what the next activity is. So if we know it's going to be going to the activities, we're going to be like, oh, this is like, there's slime, let's go, we're going to go make some slime, and we're going to have fun, or whatever, things like that.
Yeah, perfect. Great.
Yeah, we talked about this similar stuff, and just starting to distract them from whatever they're doing to start to focus them on where we're going. So like if we're going to the pool, maybe, I hope there's no sharks in the pool. Let's go find out if there's sharks in the pool.
That could be good and bad. Because now you might not have that kid going into the pool. So that actually, Michael, that, you know, I love that. That's really creative. I asked you to be creative. But teasing and, well, of course you guys know no tickling, right? But teasing or doing something silly like that actually can really send a kid out of their window of tolerance. Because now, you know, they're anxious. Oh my gosh, is there really sharks? You know, and you know that that's not reality, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean they know that that's reality. So be careful about the teasing thing. Really know your kids, because you know, that can really send them out of their window of tolerance. So thanks though.
Okay, we thought that you could give them a 15-minute countdown and then a 10-minute countdown and a 5-minute countdown.
Okay, great. Thank you.
A cool idea that was suggested over here was using bubbles. And like, you know, you follow them, pop them. I thought that was cute.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You should have bubbles in your fanny packs. Okay, so you guys will all have fanny packs. And I hope that you guys will each have a little bottle of bubbles in your fanny packs. And we're gonna do some work with some bubbles at the table. Hopefully we'll get to that. Yes?
So one of the things that we do sometimes with Michael is we try to role play, and we get into character in a Disney movie, and that helps him get out of whatever rut he's in and get into a more playful, fun mindset, and then we can throw the idea, now we got to go do this, but that helps him get out of that.
Okay.
You know, I'm really unhappy, so.
I love that. Like, let's be dinosaurs and like, you know.
Like Mike Wazowski.
We said everything they said.
Okay, great. Okay.
And then really, I think was a big one is giving them options. So they're still going to get to where they're going, but at least they get to make a choice. So trying to give them options was still getting to the end.
Yeah. Options are always good. We just want to be careful about how many options we give them. Two at the time. But if you're always having to make compromises, like just think about that. Like you need to still maintain your lead, because that is the lead, the adult keeping the lead actually helps with supporting regulation. So the other, can we go to the next? Oh, I'm sorry. You guys are important. Let's hear it.
So we thought about basically something that each table said already, so we just decided that the last thing we should do is just tell dad jokes. They're going to force us to go.
I should have known better. Yes, Leah.
I like the dad jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
So one of them being the one that I want, and then one being not a great one, so that they're going to pick the one I want anyways. So for example, like this is a really simple example, like eating at the table. Like I'll say, I want you to take 2. They're like, I'm done. I'm like, well, you should eat a little bit more. So I'm like, okay, you can have 2 bites or you can have 5 bites.
Exactly.
My goal is I want 2. They're going to pick 2 because that's my goal, but the other option is something out a little bit ridiculous. So if you're giving them 2 options, make sure those 2 options are ones that you want.
Exactly.
So they still have the power of thinking they have control, but in reality, like you're giving them options that you want them to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, cause you know what? We've had kiddos that don't want to eat. Like, and obviously that's not an option. They've got to eat. So, you know, we have to, you know, we can't give them the option to opt out of eating and doing something else. So, yes, developmentally appropriate and what's appropriate for what's going on you know, in the day. All right, so the other thing that's really important with this connecting piece, so the second principle is knowing yourself, okay? Being self-aware while working with our campers is a really big key factor to success, to overall success of building relationships. So it's going to be very important to bring good structure into the relationship, but also to be flexible when appropriate, just like we said. So again, Leah just, you know, stated very well, flexibility with limits. That's what's important. And this can be tricky because you don't want to give over your authority by bending at every turn, because that's going to create confusion for the child, and they're not going to know how to read you, and then, you know, they're going to start manipulating you, know, so just be careful about, you know, how much. But like I said, it's kind of like it's like kind of walking a tight rope sometimes. It can be very tricky, but we don't want to, you know, add to the stress by, you know, being all over the place either. So the adults should always validate and honor the child's ideas, like I said before, but that doesn't mean to let them lead. So here's an example of a healthy way of managing flexibility. When you go over the schedule with your campers, and as you're asking questions to understand your campers' needs and to empower them by giving them the opportunity to have choice in parts of their day. So let's say you're talking about chapel, and you go through what chapel is about. You're telling them, this is what we're going to do. They're asking, what's chapel about? This is what we're going to do in chapel. You may want to ask them a question like, where would you like to sit? Would you like to sit in the front or in the back of the group, right? So like then they're doing a buy-in. You want to buy, especially with chapel, you want to get a buy-in for like chapel. So like you can do those things to get their buy-in and get their participation. Yeah, so as I said last week, it's going to be very important for you to consider how you deliver information. So I can't stress enough how important approach is to getting your camper on board with you. So things to consider: your tone of voice, how you step into the conversation. You could say something like, for example, I really appreciated and was so proud of how thoughtful you were this morning when you helped your friend find his toothbrush. Let's try to be just as helpful with Juan. Maybe he's having difficulty with Juan, but he was like super helpful over here. Like bring that in to motivate the child to be helpful with Juan. You know, like he could really use a friend like you. Right? So that would be motivating, right? Oh, you know, like he has a role, he has a function, he can do something really positive. So you want to motivate them like that as well. So really knowing and being aware of how you deliver messages, you know, what's going on with you. So many things influence how we connect with children, but primary is what we've experienced in our own upbringing. It really is. So now I want you to take a few minutes to talk about some experiences in your upbringing or experiences that what did I just say here? Okay, take a few minutes to talk about some experiences in your upbringing that could impact how you connect with the kids, how you connect with the campers. All right? So just take a few minutes. Something that happened or ways you've already connected with your own kids that you are aware might be an issue. What was that? No, just things, experiences. Like for me, one of the things might be is I grew up in a family where my dad was always angry, right? And so anger is my first emotion. Like I will go there so quickly. So I have to be aware of that, really self-aware of that as I'm connecting. So that's part of my upbringing. So just talk about things that might have, and I'll just give you a couple of minutes to do that. We won't share, you can just share amongst your tables. Go for it. Okay, I'm gonna give you another minute. All right, come back to me.
I know some of these kids are.
All right. Well, hopefully talking about it is just kind of opening up your awareness for what might happen, what might influence how you connect with these kiddos, these campers during camp week. So, you know, that's the goal, is just continuing to work on increasing your awareness so we can do better. So we can do better than what was modeled for us, right? Okay, so we talked about this last time, so I'm not really gonna just kind of read it over, and we're gonna kind of move over this since I'm trying to work with the time constraints here. Okay, so the final principle is correcting, and so once you've tried, you know, all these other strategies, and the camper may still be having difficulty, or they need some type of correction to, you know, they need to learn or undo something that they're doing. I would suggest the option of either the wellness tent or just reaching out to myself or Melinda, and we can help you through that. But some of the ways that you can be proactive is to be on time. And we talked about this. Some of this is kind of like stuff that Gwen had already talked about. Using your own interpersonal skills, being kind, being polite, and so modeling those things for the campers. Accepting responsibility for, you know, offenses, and really doing that in front of them. Look for an opportunity to do that in front of them. That's going to be important. Being an active participant, a good team player. So that could look like, you know, not sitting. I think we've had a bit of an issue with some, like in the past, where, you know, our staff sit in the back and don't really engage too much during some of chapel, or, you know, but we want to surround ourselves with kids, build relationship with kids. So I really want to encourage you to be thinking about how you can model that, being a good team player, being an active participant. Following orders or rules from others in charge so that they can see that, because many of these kids, they don't have, you know, trust in relationships, so they try to do everything for themselves because they don't trust that the other people are going to take care of them, you know, people outside themselves. So they've learned to try to, you know, drive the bus, even though it's not developmentally appropriate for them to drive the bus. They've been trying to drive the bus. So it would be great if you could be thinking about how to model following rules from others in charge. Being optimistic. You know, these kids have had a hard life. These campers have had a hard life. But being optimistic, being non-judgmental, and being mindful of your own actions and how they influence. And my encouragement is to engage through play. I really want you to think about engaging through play as a motivating factor for getting their buy-in, getting them to connect with you. All right. I think I was going to spend more time there, but we're going to go to the wellness tents. You pass on over to that. All right. Okay, the wellness tents. You guys, that has been thrown around, you know, over the last 2 meetings. So now we're going to finally get to touch base on the wellness tents. So we only started, we just developed the wellness tents, I think, 2 camps ago. This will be our 3rd camp that we get to use. At the first camp, it went really, really well, but we were doing them here at the church. And so it was a day camp. So we're like, that doesn't really give us a good idea about whether these things are going to work or not. We were excited because we thought, well, there were some really good positive responses that we got from the kids. But we were like, well, it will really be able to tell the next camp. And so last year's camp, we did the wellness tents again, and we didn't have like the major, behaviors that we've seen in the past where, kids were eloping and, we had to do restraint, we had to restrain or we had to take them to that private room. So this has been great. And so the purpose of developing these tents is we really wanted to be proactive in regards to dealing with behavior, So our overall goal with developing the wellness tents were to provide a proactive approach to managing behavior in a camp setting and helping campers develop a healthy relationship with mental health support. So you can imagine that these kids have dealt with social workers, have dealt with therapists, and sometimes we're the bad guys too. We're kind of lumped in there too as the bad guys, right? And so I was like, I don't want it. I felt like a bad guy. That first camp that I went to and I had to restrain with that little girl that she was talking about. I felt like, and I've done it many times, but I felt like that's what I was doing the entire camp. Call Kathleen, she's gonna restrain this child, and I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want to be that. It doesn't feel good. So the idea was, let's create something that they can actually go away with a different perspective of what mental health is, what it can do for you, how it can be a support for you rather than they're part of taking me away from my family. They found out what was wrong and they reported it to CPS, and now, so it was, I really wanted to kind of change their perspective, and so that was the other reason, the other purpose for developing these wellness tents. And then the other reason was it's intended to be a resource not only for campers, but for counselors as well. So that if you're like, I don't know what to do, that you can suggest that, why don't we go to the wellness tent? Why don't we go see Miss Melinda or Miss Kathleen and see what they've got in the tent? And we'll talk to them about the tent. So kind of like, as we go around and we introduce them to camp, you're going to introduce them to the wellness tent. We're going to be there. We're going to invite them in. We're going to kind of show them around and talk to them about, what they can experience in that tent. So that was the overall purpose. All right. No. Back two, I think. One more. There's your lovely wife. You couldn't miss that. All right. So the overall benefits to having this resource are, it empowers the child to manage their needs, okay? It reduces the burden of the counselor, and it provides a healthy encounter with mental health. What type of support does this resource provide? It provides grounding and stabilization, and it's a safe place to share. I'm not going to be doing trauma work in this tent. That's not my intention. My intention is to let's stabilize them, let's keep them grounded so they can go back out and have fun. That's what I want them to do. So I'm going to be looking to, if they're coming in and they're depressed or they're having a low mood, I'm going to use something in that tent that's going to upregulate them so that I can get them out and get them having fun. If they're anxious and they're way at the top and they're like hyper aroused and, bouncing off the walls, I'm going to do something to try to bring them into their body and down-regulate them. Because I want to get them in that sweet spot so they can enjoy camp, right? So that would be the goal of, what happens when you guys bring your campers into these tents. When is it appropriate to utilize this resource? At the child's request. That's awesome, right? You just requested the support. Like, I'm so proud of you. You know that this is a safe place. When a child has emotional and mental needs that the counselor is unable to support, that's a good time. And when you notice that the child's showing you know, the following behaviors. They're having difficulty focusing, anxiety, depression, confusion, fear, anything that could be challenging. Okay, next one. There I am. All right, so we do have rules to the wellness tent because when we first put these up, there were like 10 kids that wanted to be in there at one time. We're like, so we need to put some, you know, boundaries up. So it really, with, you know, sometimes both therapists are in there with 2 children. It's already crowded. So I'd like to keep it at 2. We're gonna go with the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. Okay, so sometimes we do let a couple of more in because, you know, we're gonna play like a group activity or something like that. So, but ordinarily 2 children at a time. We still have the 2 deep rule in the tents. So, you know, we always have to be aware of that. And then either one of us either me or Melinda have to be in the tent. We must be present. Thank you. All right, so what's in the wellness tent? So we have all kinds of items to either upregulate or downregulate the child. A lot of these items, most of these are sensory items, very specific to sensory. And many of these things I use actually in the TheraPlay approach that I use. But aromatherapy will have soothing sounds, cotton balls, feathers, balloons, bubbles, games, weighted blankets, balls, Play-Doh, pillows, writing utensils, paper, teddy bears. Teddy bears were a big deal. We didn't realize how big they were going to be for these kiddos, but there were specific kiddos that would connect to the teddy bear, and either the whole story about their life, they would role play with the teddy bear, which kind of got a little like scary because some of them would role play and it was like, where are they going with this? Oh, let's go over here, because I want to, you know, but there was one kiddo that every single morning he would start off his day in the wellness tent. Every single morning he knew that he needed to just start off his day. He'd go and he'd sit with Teddy. He'd look at Teddy's body to see if he had any hurts or owies. We'd take the Teddy to the nurse, and the Nurse Maggie would take Teddy into the nurse's station and stitch, make sure you have a sewing kit, and stitch, you know, Teddy up and perform, you know, this procedure, and then she put gauze or a bandage over it, yes, and then we'd ask him, she'd let us know when we can come pick Teddy up, and we'd take him right back to the wellness tent. But it was, this child was being able to really express his nurture, you know, and his needs through engaging with this Teddy. And the parent had actually said, I think it was the last time, that this is like he has come out of camp like a whole different kid. So that was really neat. And I think in part it was about this. So we're gonna play a little bit. We have 1 minute. We have 5 minutes. I'm extending the time. All right, so there are bubbles and cotton balls and balloons at your table. So instead of me letting you explore them, I'm gonna structure this because of time, because the big leaders are heading over here to cut my time off. Okay, all right, so I want you to notice what's happening. You can pull those out. I'm gonna have you grab the cotton balls, and you need 2 people and a cotton ball. 1 cotton ball, single cotton ball. All right, I want you to notice what's happening inside of you right now. Is your mood up? Is your mood down? And I want you, sometimes we don't want to just say, hey, breathe. We want to tell the child to breathe. They've been told how to breathe. You know, a lot of these kids have been given those breathing techniques and they don't want to do it. So we're going to do activities that are going to actually help them to breathe. All right, so I want you to take that cotton ball and blow it to your partner and catch it in the hand. So it's a challenge and it's also helping the child breathe. So just play. It's hard. It can be challenging. And you can be taking those those deep breaths in and then blow, okay? Okay. You guys are having fun. All right, so I'm gonna bring you back to me. Come back to me. All right. How was that? You guys were having fun. I heard a lot of laughs. Okay, so James is blowing up a balloon. This table over here is being naughty and not waiting. Oh, look at that table. It's all the guys' tables. Okay. This is what happens in our male camp rooms as they get hyped up and then, yeah, this is an example. All right, so basically, balloons are a great way to get a child to breathe too and get them grounded. So I'll have them blow up the balloon. So I will have them blow up the balloon so that they can work on breathing. I'm not going to directly say you need to breathe, but I'll have them blow up so that that's grounding for them. I mean, think about what your experience is like when you blow up a balloon. You're exhausted afterwards, right? Well, that's kind of what we're hoping to get, that child's body gets grounded and their body just comes down a little bit. And so the other thing is bubbles. I know, just one more. I had technical difficulties. It wasn't my fault. Okay. So now I'm going to have you just do the bubbles. So what I'm going to have you do is there's only one thing of bubbles at your table. You're going to play bubble volley. So you're going to blow bubbles. You're going to pick one and you're going to blow it in with, you can't just blow it fast, right? You got to regulate your breath, otherwise it's going to pop that bubble. But I want to see how many times you can get it back and forth. Pick a bubble, pick one bubble, there you go. All right, so go for it. Having the child blow up the balloon. In the wellness tent, I might actually play a balloon volley but with structure. So we call out each other's name and we can see how long we can keep that balloon in the air. So there's a little bit of a challenge there. There's engagement there. And so, you know, it's just, and I'm providing the structure because we're calling out names. Or we're counting. So those are some of the things that we're going to be doing in the wellness tents, some of those activities. So does anybody have questions about the wellness tents? No? Oh, yes, Mouse. Okay, I can't hear Miles. These guys are still playing. What? Okay. The bubble's way up there? Wow, look at that. Okay, Miles has a question. Miles. So we are going to, how do we best explain the wellness tents to the kids? Okay, so you can simply say, you don't have to say it, you say let's go to the wellness tents and let Miss Kathleen and Miss Melinda introduce it, because we will be there as you do the tour of the camp. We will be there to kind of invite them in and show them. But you can just say, this place is a safe place for you to come when you're feeling anxious or you're feeling depressed or you're feeling like you're having a hard time focusing or concentrating. Miss Kathleen and Miss Melinda have activities in there that can help you with that. And it's just a place to get your body calm, or even help bring your body up if it's too low. And so I would just say that'd be the best way to deal with that. Did that help? Anybody? Oh yes, Faith.
If they're starting to act out a lot, how do you suggest it without implying that like they're in trouble? Like how do you suggest that they go to the wellness tent?
I would just probably say just take a walk and take them right by that wellness tent. So I mean, you don't want to engage in a power struggle. That's what you want to avoid, all right? And so you as the adult lead can do things that just like passively get them to where you want them to be. So for these kids, we want to avoid all power struggles anyways, but just walk them there to the wellness tent, and we can say, hey, do you need some time in here? And then, you know, that might be a good segue to that.
As we're paying attention to them during the day, usually we know if that's coming. We can tell if they're starting. What you said perfectly is this power struggle. Every chance you get, give the children, doesn't sound right, but give the children the impression that they're in charge. That's what I mean. Give them choices. Do you feel like staying here, or do you want to go over and talk with Miss Kathleen, or whatever it is? But they'll introduce the tent on the first day, and the years we've done it, the kids just want to go hang out. Sometimes
I can't get them out of there, and that's an issue too, because they're just yeah.
It's not like the timeout room. It is a place that you can feel better. So it's a really positive thing. We haven't had major meltdowns since we've had it. It's been absolutely amazing. So.
Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, that's it? Okay.
Hello, everybody. I know that balloon is so enticing. All right. Oh, there's my schedule I was looking for. Yay! I thought that was in my transitions thing, and I'm like, where is it? Okay, so our little segment right now is called Things You Need to Know. So, some things we haven't talked about yet that you might like to know, and please keep in mind, blessed are the flexible. This is a work in progress. Okay, so up at the top, this is probably a little too small for some of you to see, I'm not sure, but we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Monday, every day is special, and there's something a little different each day. So Monday is when the campers are going to arrive. So it starts out with breakfast. That's you guys at camp, but with no kids yet. Then you'll have your counselor and staff meetings. By the way, on Sunday when we go, there's a group of us who are going to go back home Sunday night because we're going to meet the kids on Monday morning here at church. So you guys will stay at camp and get everything all ready for the kids. And so that counselor staff meeting is meeting right after breakfast to kind of tell you all the good stuff that you need to know, and final prep for the campers coming, possibly making signs, the welcome signs that we're going to be greeted with. So our intention is for the campers to arrive around 11 in the big beautiful bus, and it'll all be explained to you, but how we're going to greet them. And so we're going to have where the camp bus, I should say the bus, where the bus is going to arrive. You guys will all be lined up. The counselors will have their signs. I've got Susie and Jackie, and we're jumping up and down, and we're clapping and smiling and welcoming the bus. And then when they come off the bus, do you want to interject? Then they will have been given a picture of you.
That's what I was going to say. On the bus, when we get about a half hour out, we go to each, we're going to have a picture of you and your name, and we're going to go to each counselor or each camper and say, this is your buddy camper, this person, you two are going to be together, and this is your counselor. And so they get on the bus and they're really quiet, they don't know everybody, we have a movie, then they get crazy. But then just before, at this time they're thinking, I'm going to be there in a few minutes. That's my counselor, that's what they look like? A week? Yeah, they're really nice. And I say to all of them, you got the best counselor. We made sure you had the best one. No. So today, we need to get a picture of everybody before you leave. Just if you can stop by, Daryl's going to be over by that wooden wall over there, and we just want a headshot, but it's so we can show the campers your pictures. Just counselors.
Just the counselors. Okay. So the campers arrive, and then, like I said, this is in progress, so we haven't actually talked about this, but we were thinking that it would be nice to have our camper welcome and kind of teach them the rules and everything before we go to lunch. And so depending on trying to be flexible with timing, because we're not quite sure how long it's going to take to get up there, we thought we would do a camper welcome at the amphitheater, and as we're walking from where the bus lets them off and going to the amphitheater, they have to go through quite a bit of camp, so we can kind of be giving them a tour of that's where the cabins are going to be, and this is where lunch is going to be, and then we're going over here. So get them a little bit acclimated to the camp, and then we will do basically the rules.
Right, and just so you know, the amphitheater is, so if you look at your map, I don't have a copy of it. Thank you. If you look at your map and have the Ojai sign, if you have the right side up, so north is to the right, which is very strange, north should be up. But anyway, right in the middle of the page, it's called Creekside Village. Creekside Village, and the group of cabins on the bottom is going to be the girls' cabins. The group of cabins on the top is going to be the boys' cabins. If you go farther over to the right, there's a semicircle called Sequoia. Do you see that? Sequoia? Just above Sequoia, like at the top of the hill, is where we eat. So we'll go to Sequoia is where we'll be having all of our chapels, all of our breakfast clubs, and some of them we go straight to, we come from breakfast to breakfast club, so it'll be an easy stop on the way. At night we'll go from dinner to chapel, so it'll be easy. So it's really centralized where it is. So I just wanted you to know where Sequoia was.
And I didn't even know it was called Sequoia. I just keep calling it the amphitheater. Okay, after that we will demonstrate to them how we do our prayer lines before lunch. So we'll go up to lunch, and there are a few different ways of getting there. I mentioned that earlier, that sometimes you might want to give that as a choice to your camper. Would you like to go this way or that way? But either way, we're going. And then we will have lunch. Our lunch will be served outside, and we have a group of tables that are reserved for us. There is another camp at this camp that will be going on at the same time as us, but we have our own group of tables. So we'll get our food, we'll go sit down, we will have already prayed. And then right after lunch is something that Royal Family calls 30-30 time. It's a little break for the kids. They're supposed to rest, but they usually don't. You will go back to your cabins, and that might, depending on the timing, that might be the first time that they get to see their cabins. We'll talk to the counselors when we do our breakout session about how we're going to decorate the cabins.
30-30 time refers to 30 minutes of rest and 30 minutes of quiet time. So usually, I think we have Uno games. We have a box that you'll get in each of the cabins. I think we have enough for all the cabins. But there's an Uno game. We have a tape player. What do you call it? Is that what's called these days? CD player, sorry. 8-track tape player. A CD player, and we have some CDs in it that are real calming instrumental things. So we have some of that stuff that will help you. During 30-30 time, you don't want to get them amped up. They might not go to sleep, but you want to get them calmed down, because they really do need a little bit of rest and quiet time in what otherwise is a very busy day.
So then we added to that 30-30 time next to that for the counselors, pool attire / bags. We're going to have bags for each cabin where you guys can put their pool towels as well as their change of clothes, because after 30-30 time they'll go to crafts or woodworking or rec or activities where they have choices which they want to go to. We will provide that afternoon snack that Kathleen talked about to make sure they're eating. And then it's pool time, so they'll already be in their bathing suits with, their t-shirt or shorts on top, but they'll already be dressed for that. And we will have staffers bring their bags from the cabin. You guys are going to put them on your little benches on the porch outside of your cabin, and then we'll have those waiting for you at the pool. And towards the end of pool time, we also want the kids to get showered at that time. So that's kind of that little shower time right there.
There's a shower right at the pool. There's a boys and a girls. And if you take advantage of that out of the pool, get in the shower, you don't have to find a time to do it at night or get them into the bathroom again. So it's really a convenience thing. Can I talk about the pool time? Sure. Are we there? So the pool time, there's an amazing pool there. It's a U shape, or is it an E? Yeah, 3 on a Y. Anyway, strange. Two perpendicular lines. Where's Alexa? That was a math thing. It's not pi, but anyway. So there is another group there. They had the reservation before us, so we are kind of coming in there. It's a junior high school group from Arizona, and they come every year. And one day they're going to go to the beach. In previous years, another day they go to Magic Mountain and do different things. This year they're going to be there Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So there's a chance that they will be in the pool at the same time as us. We've been told that we can't reserve a part of the pool or put a string up there. But what we can do is we will all of the staff will kind of line up, and this will be our area. And I think once they see the kids, they're going to say, I don't want to be in there, but we're going to do everything we can. Some of you have been at a camp where we shared a space. The thought of it terrified me until I went my first year at Point Loma, and it's really doable, but the support staff really have to be on top of it, because we almost have to have one adult per one kid to make sure that they're not interacting with any of the other people on camp. So, but the pool time will be a great time for that. As long as we can keep the kids in the pool, they have a blast and it wears them out, so it's really nice too. We have a bunch of pool toys that we're bringing. Got lots of noodles, not for the adults, just for the kids, and blow-up rings that we'll have too.
Did you hear that, Grandpa? Not for you. Okay, so then we have prayer lines again, and it's time to eat again. So dinner time, and straight from dinner. By the way, where we are eating is the only thing that's kind of high. Everything else is low and flat. So for anybody who went to Pilgrim Pines, we did a lot of climbing. Here, besides going to meals, everything is nice and flat. So after dinner, they'll go straight to chapel, which is also in the amphitheater. What is it, Sequoia? And from dinner to the amphitheater is very easy to get to. First night, we're planning on campfire and s'mores and some campfire songs from the worship team. And then it's time to go get ready for bed. So yeah, after s'mores, okay, go to bed. So the counselors will go back with their kids, get them ready for bed, hopefully get them to bed, and then 9:15 to 10:15, that's when their nighttime relief will come. The counselors can go take a break and then be back at your cabin by 10:15 because you're going to relieve the people who just relieved you. And then the lights out. Everybody needs to get their sleep for the next day. All right, so I'm not going to go through every single little thing, but Tuesday, I would say the thing that is different.
Back up for a minute. So some of the new volunteers were asking me about cabin relief. So let me just kind of give you an overview of what we're going to do. So in each cabin, there will be 2 counselors and 4 campers. That's 6 beds. But there's 8 beds in the cabin. There will also be a staff person who is staying in that cabin with you. If on your card it says in-cabin staff. That person's job is just to be another body, extra hands in the morning getting ready, and at night going to bed, making sure that there's always another person there. In addition to that, at night when they do the cabin relief counselor break, the in-cabin staff, and there's another relief person assigned to be in there with them for that hour while the counselors go have an hour break. And we try to keep it at an hour because, yes, you've been all day with the kids, but everybody's tired and everybody wants to get back and get to bed. So, but does that make sense, relief people? Do you understand what that is? Okay.
And also, I think it was mentioned to some of the tables that we will have some people be nighttime relief rovers. So in the middle, if you look at your map, in the middle of Creekside Village, in the grassy area, we'll have, I believe it's 4 or 5 people, including the puppies, who will be rovers. And so if you're with your... That's so funny, huh? Rovers, the puppies. Okay,
I thought it was funny.
So if you are a nighttime relief person together with your partner sitting on the porch as the kids are hopefully sleeping or getting settled down anyway, and somebody needs to go to the bathroom, then you can call over one of the rovers, and carry right over. Then you have somebody to go to the restroom with you to be too deep. All right, so Tuesday I would say is kind of a regular day because it's a full day, and so in the morning after Breakfast Club, by the way, during Breakfast Club, the counselors go and have a meeting, and the staffers are in Breakfast Club together with the kids, and then the counselors will come on time and pick up their kids. Wait, now it's time to go have fun.
Wait, just in case you didn't hear, during Breakfast Club, all support staff, every support staff, every person is a Breakfast Club. The counselors aren't there, but all of the staff need to be there, not optional.
Yes. Okay, so then the counselors come and get their kids, and then it's time for choices again. Crafts, woodworking, rec, and activities. And we'll have 2 very specific places where all of that is going to take place. If you want to look at your map, the hub is where woodworking and crafts will be, and then the camping meadow we will have for rec and activities. Then it's time to eat. Well, eat a morning snack, keep playing, and then eat again. So lunchtime, 30-30, pool attire and bags. The fun and games, Creekside Village, is the camp does their rec from 1:30 to 5. So during that time, after 30-30, but before we do pool time, there's going to be a bunch of kids from the other camp. They're going to be zip lining, climbing walls, rock walls, and so if our kids want to do those things, they can, but we also have our rec stuff, like riding the bikes, right?
So for returning volunteers, you're used to us saying, okay, if you want to zip line, this is your time. If you want to climb a wall, this is your time. We're not going to do that this year. There's a time where it says fun and games, that's how much, an hour-ish, that we're not sure. We have to talk to the other camp. We're hoping to say, can we do the zip line this day and you'll do it that day? We're hoping to be able to do that with them. But we will let you know that at camp. But this is the time to do it. There's not going to be a scheduled time. One of the benefits of that is kids that don't want to do it, we're not going to wait for a half hour while they get the courage to jump off the zip line. So,
Greg? Not crafts and wood shop, but I'm not sure about bikes. Rich? We will let you know. I mean, because we kind of want to have like an end time so that you guys can pack things up and not be, okay, here we go again, you know? So for sure not crafts and wood shop. I'm not sure though about bikes.
yeah, that's outdoor rec. That kind of goes with the fun and games.
Except that it's over on Creekside Village, on Camping Meadow versus Creekside Village where the rock wall and the foosball and all of that.
It's from here to that side.
All right. So we will let you know. Okay, and then it's pool time again. So if you look through the whole week, we have pool time Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So the difference on Wednesday is that pool time will be earlier, so we're actually reserving the pool just for us. Because Wednesday is the day that the other camp is going to the beach. And so we're going to do pool time in the morning, and then in the afternoon, it is everybody's birthday. So we have a whole team of people who are coming up to camp to get everything prepared for the birthday party. And then that afternoon will be the birthday party. All right, and then as you look, you can see a lot of the same schedule besides that special part. Thursday, remember that might be the day that they start being sad that camp is almost over, but we'll do very similar to Tuesday. Really the only difference is when we get to the evening, we're going to have the variety show, and so Christina and Alexa are gonna all week be amping up the variety show. It's not a talent show, it's a variety show. And the kids hopefully will all sign up and plan what they want to do, and then we have that variety show in the evening. And then when you guys go back to bed, or go back to the cabins to get ready for bed, it also kind of is time to start packing. Because Friday morning we need to have everything out of the cabins by 9 a.m. So that means before you leave for breakfast, everything has to be out. Your stuff and the kids' stuff all out on the porch, and then we'll have staffers bring stuff where it needs to go. So that's, that's going to be early, and so you want to kind of start planning on Thursday for that. Friday, it says Breakfast Club, but that will be our drama team's opportunity to finish their drama. But it'll be done at Breakfast Club like they normally meet. And then instead of having activities and so on, we will be doing t-shirt signing that we kind of mentioned. The kids will have t-shirts that we give them specifically for that. And then we will do some sort of special ceremony. Sometimes we've planted a tree, we've written on a rock and thrown the rock, so we haven't decided quite what we're going to do yet, but we'll do that special thing. And then when it's time to pass out the photo albums, which are just beautiful, that'll be a nice opportunity for the campers and their counselors to really kind of look through their week and reminisce over what a great week we had. And then we will have lunch, hopefully a little bit earlier, and then it's time to put the kids on the bus. And so that is typically a very sad time, to be honest with you, but when we did camp here at church because of COVID in 2020, we started something that just made it so great. So we do Camper Celebration Tunnel. And so we make a tunnel, and when everybody's clapping for you, it's very difficult to walk through a tunnel where everybody's clapping for you and be sad. And they smile, and they're like maybe teary-eyed, but they're smiling as they walk through the tunnel, and then they get on the bus. And so the kids go on the bus without their counselors. So, that's your goodbye, but we demonstrate our healthy goodbyes and how much you loved having them for the week, and that you're going to be praying for them. But remember, no contact after camp. So we send them off, and they go on the bus, beautiful bus, by the way, and they'll watch a movie on the way home.
Air conditioned with the bathroom.
Yes, and a movie. Okay, so that's kind of the week. And do you guys have any questions about the schedule? And this may be tweaked between now and camp, but just to give you an idea of kind of what camp looks like. No questions. Okay. Bonnie, yes.
You may have said this last year, I think we have separated a lot of them. Are the kids all together at one time? Okay, huge.
If we are able to, so how we said there's kind of 3 arms to the pool, we're kind of hoping we can kind of have the girls in this arm, the boys in this arm, but we don't have, except for Wednesday morning, we don't have exclusive use of the pool. So there may be a bunch of, 13 to 17-year-old kids all over the place, but we're going to try to.
I normally don't encourage mob mentality, but it's okay when we're at the pool, so we just kind of make it clear that we're in this area and they don't want to come. Just not, you're not being mean about it, but just.
Yes, thank you. So we have been expecting it to be very, very hot up there, and so we were thinking we should tell the counselors, bring a fan for your cabin, but then we've been looking at the weather, and it's going to get into the 50s at night. So I think it will be warm, hot in the afternoon, but it's supposed to get down to the 50s. Yes, so think about that as far as like a sweatshirt or a jacket or whatever.
Can I sit out on the front porch? It feels so great out there.
So as you are planning your packing, yes, it will be hot in the daytime, so plan accordingly, but it may get cool/cold at night. So if you don't like being cold, bring your sweatshirt. Yes, definitely. Rich?
Are we supposed to do our part?
Okay, so we've talked about the break room, and I mentioned that there's lots of fun snacks. There's only lots of fun snacks if you guys bring them. So think about your favorite snack. And you guys, you don't need to bring 5 things each, okay? But if you love pretzel, peanut butter, peanut peanut butter pretzel, you know what I'm talking about, right? That wonderful thing. Then bring that, okay? But you just need to bring one. You don't need to bring 5 of those, okay?
Bring one to share with everybody.
One to share with I'm talking about the big tub, but you know, to share with everybody. But if everybody brings 5 things, it's just crazy, you guys. We don't need all of that junk, okay? So think about what you prefer, you know, what you like, and bring it to share. And then our snack room will be great. Becky? I feel like Royal Mail has not really been spoken about too much. So one of the activities that we do at camp is called Royal Mail. And I'm just gonna go back 10 years ago to what Royal Mail used to look like and then compare it to what you're gonna see now. So I feel like Royal Mail before was kind of like bits and pieces of paper and maybe some like leftover Christmas cards that somebody threw in the bin and markers that didn't work. And we tried to write cute notes to the kids, but I don't know. Now we have a professionally made mailbox that is adorable that Craig Baldwin made for us. And then Becky and her scrapbooking elves have made the most gorgeous notes. So you guys are gonna go, oh my gosh, this looks like a professional card that I didn't do anything for, but look at me. And then you can just sign the inside. And so basically what we wanna do is let the kids feel special. And so they're so excited to get mail. I mean, who gets mail anymore? I got a thank you card the other day and I went, oh my gosh, I don't even know what this feels like. Because nobody writes anymore. Anyway, so we give them special cards from us, from the counselors, from the staffers, and also the kids to the kids. And so that is what Grandma and Grandpa were mentioning, that they kind of check to make sure it's appropriate. So a kid can't be, you know, giving their phone number to another kid, or, you know, maybe an adult says something that, you really shouldn't be saying that.
And both of these have happened. I know you say like, oh,
yes.
None of us would do that. There's been campers who have written to another camper, will you meet me out behind the cabin later? So it's, we've had phone numbers in them. We don't let those go into their mail. We don't put them in their mailbox.
So that's why they get checked. We have also, even though we say this in training, that there can be no contact or anything, we had a counselor say, I wish I could be your mommy, and that just is not appropriate. So that's why Grandma and Grandpa read everything, and then they get distributed to the kids. Becky, anything else on Royal Mail? Okay, KidSmart is something that we've mentioned. Vicki is in charge of KidSmart, and Vicki and Becky and a lot of people have been gathering up beautiful new clothes, so not used stuff. We do bring some used jackets that we get from the elementary schools. Do you remember when your kids were little and there was that lost and found? Well, I go and I get the jackets from the elementary schools and we go through and we pick the good ones and we wash them, and then we've got jackets for KidSmart. And then they also have cute bathing suits and flip-flops for them, and little dresses and outfits and pants and all cute things, and the kids get to go shopping for free, and their only payment is a smile and a thank you. Tina?
One thing I want to mention about KidSmart is, as counselors, you take your kids and know their clothing size before you bring them in.
For anybody who didn't hear that, she said, counselors, make sure you know your kid's clothing size before you go to KidSmart. We will schedule that for you, where you'll go in with your cabin, probably, and go shopping, and the kids are going to be, I don't know what size I am, so you make sure you know what size they are.
Yeah, you don't ask the kids what size they were. You look at the clothes in their bag or when they do something. One of the reasons that KidSmart came to me, it's uniquely Cypress Royal Family that does KidSmart, is that there it went. Good job, Grandpa. Is that so we have a ministry here called Safe Families, and it's families will get a call and say, hey, can you take these kids so that they don't, for 3 days, so that they don't go into foster care. It's preventative, so it's if the family's struggling. And so we have a room that has all these clothes that they can just come and say, okay, they're coming to my house, here's clothes. For a lot of the foster kids, that's what their clothes are. They're clothes that they just have at that home for whoever comes through, or that they brought. So this is, they get to go shopping, pick out their own clothes. They're new, and it's just an amazing thing.
Becky?
So I mentioned that sometimes
On Monday. If they can wear whatever bathing suit they brought, we don't tell them that they can't wear those, but we never give them a two-piece bathing suit because we did one year and I had a mother come marching back and she was furious because she saw in the photo, in the picture of her foster daughter with a two-piece bathing suit, and she thought we were a Christian camp. How could we? So we don't ever give away two-piece bathing suits, but if they don't have a bathing suit at all in there, we have like 50 brand new little girls' bathing suits that are darling. So, but on Monday, what's one of the things you want to do? Check with their, as you're, you don't have to do an inventory of their thing, but just check it. Is there socks? Is there a bathing suit?
Yes. So on Monday, all counselors want to go through the kids' belongings, things that they brought, make sure that they have a toothbrush, toothpaste, the clothes that you think they're going to need, shoes that fit them, bathing suit, make sure they have their pillow. They will be told all these things that they need to bring, but sometimes they come and they don't have them. So all of those things on Monday, we would rather know sooner rather than 9 o'clock at night that, oh, he doesn't have a pillow, and neither does she, and neither does that one, and then all of a sudden we're looking for 6 pillows. So all of those things, please check counselors on the first, when they arrive. Probably your first opportunity will be 30-30 time. Okay, let's look through your stuff and make sure you have everything you need. And then we've got all of that can help you, so we just need to know it. I'm going to move on from those kinds of questions to a liability form that every single person who goes to camp has to fill out. The kids, somebody has to do it for the kids, and then all of us have to do it as well. So sometime tonight, Gwen is going to email us this liability form. I don't think it'll take us too long, but you have to put your
It'll take 5 minutes, and you have until Sunday night at 9 o'clock to complete it.
So we want it all done by this weekend, okay?
What time does it need to be done by? 9 o'clock tomorrow night, everybody. That form is. So as soon as you fill it out, either shoot me a text or an email so I know.
Okay, so that's coming soon, and that's something that the camp requires.
Do we email that back to you? The form, the liability form. Can we email it back?
It doesn't come to me, it goes to the camp, so I need you to let me know that you did it. It's on the camp website.
It's a link through the camp, and so it'll go to them, but we need to know that you've done it so we can bug the people who haven't. Like at 8:30 Sunday night, because everybody's going to be done by Sunday at 9, right?
Sunday morning the 16th, everyone will arrive in the back parking lot by the kids' patio and be here by 8 o'clock. You need to bring all your luggage and all the things that you're bringing to fit in whatever car you're riding in. You'll be contacted so we'll have all the carpool things set up. But we're all gonna sit back there. You're gonna make sure all your stuff's in a car that you're riding in. You're gonna have your t-shirt on. We're gonna go to the 9 o'clock service together, and they will pray and send us off. We're doing the 9 o'clock service just because it is a little bit longer drive, so we wanna give everybody more time. Yeah, and I'll have to let you know on that Sunday where to sit. They change it. Sometimes they say you're gonna stand up, sometimes they say you're gonna go on the stage. Okay, we'll sit in the front left. Yep.
That was forward left. So down left.
And then after the service, we'll come back out here. We'll take a group picture with everybody, and your loved ones are welcome to be there with us to send us off. We'll get in the cars and we'll head off. Pray. Oh yeah, pray. Wait. We'll pray first. And Bruce.
We'll have a couple of extra seats if somebody needs to ride up there.
if you want.
Say that again?
We'll have a couple extra seats in our truck if somebody needs to ride up there. If someone
You have
takes
extra
the
seats.
car.
Did
Tell
you
Ed.
put that on Ed's form? Okay. Very good.
And then, so we'll all leave, and we will stop, each car, however they want, stop for lunch between here and there. And meet there by 2 o'clock at the ETA is supposed to be 2 o'clock, so just figure that in your time spent with lunch.
So we're kind of estimating between 11 and 2 is your travel time. So you're traveling and you're also stopping for lunch with your car or cars, how many ever people want to organize, but your car can decide where you want to eat. The camp actually doesn't want us there till 3, but we want to get there at 2. And,
mob mentality.
And they really don't want us there early, but we will get there and park in the lower parking lot. Lower parking lot, and we'll do our little meetings and decide what we're going to all do and plan for what's going to happen right at 3, and hopefully we can start a little bit earlier.
Yeah, when you're coming in on, it's called Burnham Road, and when you're coming in, there'll be a sign that says Forest Home. The first sign, that's the one you go in, and it's a big dirt parking lot. A little bit past that, you go up a hill a little bit, there's one. If you go into a parking lot that's next to buildings, you're in the wrong place. Go back to the dirt parking lot, that's where we'll be. And that's where the bus will actually drop off the campers on Monday morning as well.
Okay, this is skipping to the end after we've come back from camp on Friday. Saturday is our welcome home celebration dinner. And we hope, well, you guys RSVP'd when you came in, but we hope you guys will all be able to go to that and bring loved ones. I like to give the story of David Galletti. He came with his daughter who did camp with us, and he went, oh my gosh, this is so great, and now we have David volunteering for us. So we want you to bring your family members and kind of share what you went through at camp, and they get to see your new royal family and everything that you went through, and it's just a nice way to kind of culminate our week together. So please plan on coming to that. Okay, the last thing I wanted to say is it's all about the kids. So as tired as we might be during the week, or something you maybe don't agree with, or you've been asked to do something and you're like, oh, let's think about that it's all about the kids. So I think with that mental attitude, then it's a little less about, me and what I want. It's, you know what, if this helps the kids, then I'm willing to do it. And so I think that's a great attitude to go with. And we are so excited to have all of you be with us for the whole week and make this a great week of camp for our beautiful kids who are coming. Another question from Becky. Rich. Gwen, did you hear that? Rich is asking, when we come back on Friday and we've got everything in the trailers and everything, can we wait until Saturday morning? So anybody who's available Saturday morning at 9,
We would love to have them.
we would love to have your help, because everything that went to camp has to come back and get off those trailers. Ed, will it be okay to have that borrowed trailer until Saturday? Okay. So Saturday morning at 9, we've got to unload all of that and put it all back in the container in the back of the church where we store everything for Royal Family. So to summarize, the extra help that we need as far as packing and unpacking the trailers is Saturday, the day before we leave for camp, so that's July 15th, also at 9 o'clock in the morning to help pack them. And then when we come back, July 21st, the next day, Saturday the 22nd, we would love to have your help to unpack those trailers. Rich? Matt Gomez, how many dollies do you have? Oh, 0. Okay, who else has dollies? Okay. Can everybody who raised their hand bring their dolly Saturday morning, July 15th, please? Like furniture dolly kind of thing, or hand, yeah. Okay, I think you're gonna have 6 or so. Should be good? Okay, thank you. Other questions? Okay, it is time for breakout sessions. So we said staff stay, but because the acoustics in here are kind of bad, let's have the counselors go over there and staffers come over here. Is that okay? All right, so if you are a staffer, go over here, and if you're a counselor, go over there.